Brendan's at the big desk, ready to take you into the close.
Guys, what an afternoon. Yeah, welcome back in. Very, very busy, very active market, continues to be volatile. A few things to understand as we head into the final 2 hours here. To kick things off, really nothing significant as of yet, anyways, coming from this quote-unquote closed door meeting from the Fed that happened at 11:30 this morning. All eyes then shifting towards tomorrow morning, 8:30, we'll get the latest CPI print to come through. Should be very, very volatile tomorrow morning as well. What a day it's been, though, with these banks all over the place. Just an absolute halt fest for both FRC and WAL. If you missed it just after we went off at 11 o'clock, just before the lunch hour, we got that statement that came through from the CEO of WAL, reassuring investors, talking a little bit about their deposits versus what is insured by the FDIC, still topping more than 50%. And the bank is currently taking steps to shore up some of its liquidity and the ability to cover withdrawals. He also said that withdrawals to this point have been moderate, quote unquote moderate, and they're continuing to monitor the situation. But that was an actual SEC filing. So hopefully we'll get some stability coming back into this area of the market. But the overall market in general, here's how futures are shaping up. At this point, about 0.5% right now for the S&P. I'll show you the board here in a second. 0.3 for the Dow, 1.4 for the NASDAQ, ending up to be pretty positive. Yeah, crazy. 20.5% for Bitcoin, 17.3 down there for Ethereum. Huge, huge, huge moves. This is the financials group still under the most pressure. All of these in that same sort of category. FRC, obviously, ZION, another one, FITB, KeyBank down here, 27%. HBAN, another one as well. So all kinds of liquidity issues to be taken care of from this group. But these declines easily offsetting most of this positivity. Healthcare stocks are nicely positive. That was that Carl Icahn move this morning, ILMN, up 20% here today on that potential activist investor move from Carl Icahn. Moderna having a nice day, 7% on a positive note. Amgen's here, AbbVie as well, just to name a few. More positivity then coming from consumer discretionary, utility, real estate stock, even energy. Back to the upside. Had a crazy move in oil this morning. Went from down 5.5 to now down just about 2% with an hour or so, or I guess a half an hour or so to go in the futures pit session. 0.72 right now for the overall S&P 500. Hope your afternoon is going well. Hope you've stayed safe. Hope you've sized your positions accordingly with this crazy, crazy volatility. Just hearing a note coming through on Signature Bank, still halted for additional information. But let's kick things off with a little bit of a look back. Where could we have found some opportunity this morning, not only in this regional bank group, but also in Tesla. There was also a few other earnings names that were moving around this morning. So Sean's going to kick us off this afternoon with a look at one of his trades from this morning.
Good day, traders. Yes, it is your trade of the day, and today it's brought to you by, as every day, Day Trade the World. Make sure you scan that QR code below. And you've probably been hearing us talk about it all day. It's pretty choppy today. Like, I just feel like when you're looking here at the NASDAQ, it's been a very, very wild day. This is where we opened up. Nice move to the top side. And again, with all this bank contagion, all this risk, like very uncertain of what was going to happen. Then bounce, 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 bounce. Finally make some new highs up there near 12,200. And right now, we're kind of just hovering around. But the thing about this trade of the day, it's pretty simple, and I got into it late. And the key is wait for levels to develop. If you're going to sit here and trade something like a Meta here, look what I waited for. This area that I indicated right there is 181. So unfortunately, look how choppy this is in the morning. I mean, whether, you know, unless you caught the very top, I mean, it's a huge move to begin with. It was very, very choppy in here, but we knew we wanted Meta long. Why? Look at the percentage Meta's up, 1.73 versus the market. Well, 1 point, now we've taken off to the upside, so we're about more even. But Meta all day has been outpacing the market. So what did we do? We found a 181. But not only that, since it's been trading with the market, look what else we found on the market down here, 1250. So this little bump area that kept on resisting and getting some support down there, that's 1250 or so. That was coinciding with this level right here on Meta of 181. So we came in a couple times, we're able to get it out a bunch of times there. And right before I came up to here, I was thinking about, I had an offer right here at 183 because if I'm going to play the bottom, like right now we're long 181 and Meta right here is at 182.60, right? So it's a huge move up. But look at that top, 183. If we think that the market's going to be hard to trade today and it's range bound, then we should probably be getting out at those levels once it hits the top. Like if we're playing the bottom, once it hits the top, we need to be getting out of that. But I wasn't sure where this market wanted to go, so we're holding our last 10% for that top, which I was there and I canceled it. Should have probably put it back. But again, Meta's your trade of the day for two reasons. One, we let it we'll go this way. We let it sort of calm down, right? Give us a level, give us something to trade off of. We think we found that at 181. Not only that, but it coincides with this bottom as well of the NASDAQ. So we know that we're not trading the futures, we're trading actual equity, and it's Meta, but it's following the futures. They're both bouncing off the same levels. So, hey, if the market rips, we know we got a good one here with Meta. Meta's a positive stock. We have a couple negatives, and we'll talk about that in a minute, but it's Meta for your trade of the day.
Yeah, great move from not only Meta, from most of big tech this morning. Definitely relatively strong on the watch list as well this morning. If you haven't done so, make sure you sign up for that. Super easy. You just need an email address. You can have the watch list every single day from us for free every morning before we come on at 8:30. So I was mentioning that Signature Bank. So the NASDAQ just out with an update on this halt, just saying that trading will remain halted until Signature Bank has fully satisfied NASDAQ's request for additional information. So this is obviously the one that New York State stepped into over the weekend and closed. So SBNY, NASDAQ just coming out with a random update there. We have this weird dark print on our screen. There we go. Down, it hasn't even traded today and it won't trade for SBNY, but not much else as far as the overall market is concerned so far. We were expecting maybe some sort of update as far as what came out of this closed door meeting from the Fed this morning. As I mentioned, I have yet to see anything from that. So a closed door meeting ends up being a very tight-lipped secret, I guess. We'll see what happens tomorrow after CPI comes through at 8:30. That'll be the next big print for the overall market. This was the main idea, made headline coming through this morning that we were discussing. Obviously, the banking group in focus. It was a tale of two stories, though. We had a few upgrades in the bigger names. JP Morgan included, Wells Fargo was upgrading them. So bigger names getting a little bit of positivity when anything in this regional bank group or smaller group was under significant pressure as well. WAL, FRC, the two main ones today. But so many opportunities, guys, as far as downside movement. It's been an absolute halt fest all day long for both of those. Let's maybe take a sec, review any ideas we had for the banking group today.
Well, that was fun. Depends on where you want it to go. You can go with the big banks, the Citigroups, the BACs, or you can start to mess around with FRC. And now I'm gonna start with FRC. Why? Because it's the most exciting one. And I realized how exciting it was once I sent an order in. And I realized, yeah, that was in the pre-market, and it was messy. It's one of those trades when names like this are involved in the news, they get very whippy very quickly. And that's what you're starting to see in FRC. Now it probably looks like it's going to halt again. There it goes. It's just halted. It's 33.58. And we started the day, I believe this was around 27, 28. Went all the way down to 20, sub 20. Now we're back above 30 and looks like we're near the day highs. Let's see if FRC is going to do this late session halt up all the way back, because we came a long way down from where this one started, right? So on top of all the other names that have been moving around, FRC had a rough go of it in the last not 24 hours, but since 24 hours, 4 a.m. this morning. So going into Friday's close, when they kind of halted all the way back up after that initial fall, well, over the weekend into this morning, there you go, from 80 bucks all the way down to 32, and now they're starting to stabilize. And I think this is going to be a great trade going forward, not necessarily just today, but also the fact that we're willing to put in start willing to put in a base down here. So this bodes well for this specific stock, especially if we can get back, I would say, to 50 bucks. I think that would open the door for a nice long. Obviously, what the price we're going to be looking at right now is going to be 35 bucks. They're halted. Let's see where the projected open on this is. It's still 33.58, but I think 35 could open the door, nice door all the way back up towards those pre-market highs that are sitting just north of 40. And if we can get north of 40, 50 on deck, and then from that point on, you got to start looking at some much bigger targets. But for now, it's starting to get hot again, and that's what you want in stocks like this that are going into the end of the day, that have had quite the day. You know activity is going to be coming on board in the final closing hours. So here we are starting to make a move to the upside.
All right, 5,000 watching. Please hit the like and the subscribe, and let's keep this, the show going, the chat going, the chat pretty active. I want to thank everybody for all your kind words today and every day, and thanks Arun for being here one more time. Look, he just talked about all the banks that were sort of moving around today. One bank that hasn't moved much today, believe it or not, is JP Morgan. I mean, again, whoops, I'm still on that highlight there. So part of it was we were looking at this 134 short. That came in early at 10:15. We were a little bit nervous about it because we just ripped up $5 from a 129. But again, respect some of your levels. Let's see if JP Morgan can get past this 134. That should be a very interesting level to look at if you are looking at any levels right there for JPM. And then right now, just kind of barcoding around. The only trade that I had on, and of course, I have two of these today. You're going to see one on Nvidia in a minute, and then one right here on WFC, where we've been short WFC here all day. Good trade. And then we're like, oh, let's get out if it breaks 75. It touches 75. We get out, and then it makes a move down about $1.10 back down to the downside. So I still think Wells Fargo and JP Morgan short back into some of the areas. I mean, this is way off of where we were on Friday. What I was thinking was just short back into them. But again, they're way down as opposed to JP Morgan. So some of this, I guess banking contagion, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, some of the systemic risk is affecting WFC a lot more than some of the big money center banks today anyways. So JP Morgan, WFC, let's check on Bank of America quickly here. I mean, we can look at FRC. I think you already did that. It's halted again as we speak. You can see BAC also down as well. I still think there's shorts near the highs of the day until we get it all figured out. But here's FRC, just in case you're looking at it again. It was basically halt fest all morning. Every single one of these gaps is a halt. And then we had about an hour of no halting where the stock didn't move a whole heck of a lot. And right now it looks like they're trying to get back up to the upside, breaking this 35 area. So we'll see where this opens up. Right now the tap is where it closed. So no update right now on FRC, but we do have somewhat of a new position right now. We're back into Nvidia, which I said we would just talk about. We just shorted it against that high that we've already made on the day. So that was really sucky. Shorted, took some nice profits. Now we're back into the short one more time. Our Facebook is ripping to the upside. That's $1.50 in the money, but it's this Nvidia trade that we're going to get out if it goes too much higher than where we are right now. As this has been a hard day to sort of figure out what to trade and where to trade it, and it looks like we may be caught again on Nvidia, but we'll wait to see. We're now short flat right now. 230.83 is our short price, and we're just 10 cents, 20 cents out, depending on where you go. So, so far not so great on this short, but it's a new position.
All right, here is the latest number as far as the CME Fed Funds tool is concerned, back to 71.6. Remember when we spoke in the pre-market this morning, this was 90.5% in favor of the quarter point. This would be nothing. This would be a pause, 28.5%. For a pause, 71.5 right now on the quarter point. I just went out to May as well, and there's actually 12.5% chance of a cut. So 12.5 would go back to between 450 and 475 if you get this coming up in 2 weeks' time. So we get this in 2 weeks' time, and then you go out to May. There's actually a little bit of a chance of a cut in the May meeting. So quarter point, it looks like to come in a couple of weeks. You saw the 2-year here. I wanted to mention these. With a significant bounce, we got actually down to 4 to the number. It was right on the number, 4% for the 2-year today. Bit of a bounce underway, but look at that. 3 days erases 2 months almost worth of an up move on the 2-year. Very similar for the 10-year, back to 3.53 right now after touching a low of 3.41. So all kinds of volatility right across the board wherever you're looking today. I just noticed one that actually doesn't have a heck of a lot of volatility today, but just a steady march to the upside after a bit of a morning dump there for Tesla, guys. There was a downgrade, and Elon was picking up some more shares through an options buy.
Oh, man. I was just saying, I didn't even look at Tesla. Right now, we are getting close to getting stopped out here on Nvidia as it's going back up to the upside. Yeah, look, okay, so it looks like the long is strong right now, especially in this market as we look to take out some of the tops. There it is. We just got stopped out there. Best thing to do is probably stay away as right now the NASDAQ and Meta going right back. This looks like Meta. Remember, that's why we were trading it off that. NASDAQ and Meta looking like it wants to take out some of those tops right there. So there goes Nvidia. We just tried it right there, 231 short. Out 231.40, I guess, on that 30 break. So a little bit of slippage right now as it comes back to the upside is Nvidia. All right, so Tesla there, another one. It's okay that we lost there. I mean, obviously we were trying to get that to go to the downside, but yeah, that sucks. Look at Tesla right now, Brendan, as you just mentioned, just turned green not too long ago. Nice move to the upside here, and look at it respecting this 200 period. Just keeps on going back up to the upside. There's a dip down, stops on the 200, then continues to go up. I said 175 today, which was a little bit of a, wasn't really confident in that, or so we would have gone long. But let's just have a quick look here. Tesla bouncing off once. Yeah, I mean, that morning was pretty violent, and that's what sort of. The morning didn't like screw me up per se. It was more just like, wow, what a violent move to the downside and then a big move up, which sort of caught both Arun and I both offside a little bit on the short. But Tesla right now looking like it wants to make a move and just keep on going, man. 178. I mean, why stand in the way of any of these things? The NASDAQ is up 1.7%. Was not thinking that. So huge move to the upside right now, and it looks like it just wants to continue. Tesla once again for the win here. I would just say wait for pullbacks at this point. Every time I try to step in and buy something at these prices, it's too bursty today, and Tesla is not away from that. I mean, this is one of the most bursty stocks around. So nice moves. We just got to wait for the 200 period to come back in at least, which is 173-ish.
Yeah, Tesla's at a location where it's going to be hard to get involved now. If you were going to do it, you have to do it when the market was coming down. It was sitting at about 172 and change. You could maybe argue a 170 stop. It would have been touch and go there. But now it's at 176. What do you do in terms of risk? That's a 30-minute chart. Let's break it down a little bit smaller. And what do you got? This is the zone that I was looking at initially in terms of sell side action, right? We got above that 174 finally, and now we've cleared it. Great. Now where do I put my stop? And this is kind of what I have to look at is where do I put my stop on a breakout if I'm going to take that long? And I don't see it. I don't know where a clean stop would be. Maybe 167. That's the line I have down here, but I'm not putting up $8 in risk for this. Absolutely not. So in this situation, it's going to be hard to grab a trade on Tesla now. It was weak earlier when they started taking that low out, 168. But then they started putting in a decent amount of support down there. So you know there's a base being created or that has been created down through the bottom. And now it's just a matter of can they take out the top end as well, which sits at about 180 and change. If we get above that, I think it's pretty clear that Tesla has put in a nice little bottom for the sell-off that it's had since the 6th. So it's about a week now where we've been coming off from those high 190s. Now, if we put in that base, could be a nice little long, but keep in mind, regardless of what the Fed funds expectation is for rates going forward, regardless of all that stuff as of right now, you know tomorrow morning things change very, very quickly, right? Tomorrow morning we have the CPI. That will change all of these figures extremely quickly. So let's see what happens tomorrow morning. Until that point in time, I'm obviously, you can see it on my board here, I'm long. I'm long across the board here. I've got 4 different names. I've tried to spread them out between tech, energy, banking, and then ADSs out of China as well. But I'm long across the board there. But I'm well aware of, as we go into the end of the day, as we go into the closing session, essentially, that people may want to shed some risk going into a CPI number. You know that's going to bring some volatility. So great as the move is, I don't expect this to last too long. We're going to get some activity. I don't know which direction it's going to be. I'm obviously playing for the long. I'll take it as far as I can, but if I start to see some sell waves coming in, I'm going to walk away because I don't want to be sitting inside of a bunch of longs as this market is trying to adjust for tomorrow. And I think you do have to be aware of what's going to be going on tomorrow and how this is going to affect the close for today.
All right, let's, I was just reading through a note on Microsoft once again. The Verge coming out with a note suggesting they built a $100 million supercomputer just for ChatGPT. Fahad and I were just kind of talking about this. We saw that note this morning suggesting that ChatGPT 4 is coming this week. I haven't been able to find a specific date, but everything just points to this week. We'll get the newest version of ChatGPT 4. Here's Microsoft. Day highs, guys. What a day for Microsoft when everything else is pretty weak.
Yeah, up 3. Wow. Okay, so yeah, big day for Softy again today. I mean, it wasn't really on our radar. We had Meta longs, Apple shorts, JP Morgan, and then FRC. But Microsoft, again, not really on our radar. But yeah, what a huge move up. But I mean, look at this, though. It still goes down $5 first and then makes the move up a whopping $10, which you're right at the top here. Like, it's just so tempting right now to like short everything that I don't think we short this name. It's too strong. But I mean, straight upside there for Microsoft. Let's just look at a 20-minute. I mean, I don't want to. It's the same thing that like we didn't short JP Morgan because I was like, it's too strong. But I mean, this is like off of that 250, it's just straight to the upside. This is a 20-minute chart. So Microsoft, like Brendan said there, man, $100 million computer there. Again, it's a nice investment into ChatGPT. I don't think it's like the be-all, end-all. There's a lot of competition around this space, but right now all the talk is going towards Microsoft for this. So I again, missed opportunities, but a lot of support down here, 255, 256. So if the market does drop, I think you can buy it there. That's where the 200 period is, and it just makes sense to me that you may want to get into some of this name as it just continues to work. So Microsoft right now continuing to work pretty much every day. We'll look to see about some longs tomorrow, but with CPI coming out, hard to predict holding this thing overnight or anything like that. But for right now, yeah, it's working. It's working right up to the upside. And right now, what about Meta? I know we're still long Meta, we're still long AMD, and they're both cracking or working a lot to the upside and cracking through some of these tops. But we're right at a top again in this market. So market and Meta both up near the top right now. Just debating taking one of them out because we also do have AMD, which is kicking around the top as well. I'm thinking about just getting out of this Meta right now. But yeah, Microsoft, huge move up. NASDAQ, huge move today. Caught me offside, so I don't... for right now, got to wait for things to start to pull back. But I am going to get out of this Meta, man. It's just at 183. Too many times we've been up here and turned around. It looks silly. Look how easy this drops off of 183. Let's get out of Meta, close this trade, and look for something else.
Yeah, Microsoft's a sore spot for me because the strength in Microsoft, I saw that early. Great read, terrible execution. Because this is what the chart on Microsoft looks like for me. Hey, that looks like a good long. Oh, I'm going to get out right near the low. The low being 73, my out being very close to that. And then instant turn, and here we are up. So the strength in Microsoft was visible early. The issue was the stop placement. Clearly, they got me nicely. All I can do is smile at it and go, okay. But this is kind of what you got to pay attention to now that Microsoft's put in that low, south of 250. They've taken out that low, taken out some stops, including me, and now snap back up. And now they've put in a nice base down there. I think you got to throw some respect at this 245 now. That's in play. And also the fact that we're now back above the pre-market highs as well from 255 to 253. Now you can probably start using 250 as a level as well. So now you have some options as you get into the high. And I think the high you got to pay attention to here is that 260 because we've stalled here between 258 to 260 the last few times we've been here. So as strong as it is right now, I think the buying, the risk reward where the buy made sense is gone. And now you got to consider the possibility of what's going to happen as we get close to that 260. Doesn't mean we can't just rip right through and keep running. I'm just saying it could pause. It's something to watch just in case. If you are long and you're managing a position like Microsoft where it's been strong, then you've got to wonder, is this the point in time where people start to take profit? It makes sense, but at the same time, you respect the strength. The market's been resilient so far. Ever since we got that pop, what time was that? Because that's when I was short and then it just completely reversed from 80. Around 11 o'clock. Ever since we got that move from 80 all the way back up to like 39.40, the move down was just a drift. And now we're catching a secondary bid back towards the highs. And with Microsoft going, we're seeing some of the big staples in these indexes, Microsoft being one of them, Apple having the exact same chart as Microsoft. Obviously, the highs are a little different, but the low looks very similar. And they're both looking like they've put in a base, they're catching a secondary bid, and they're looking to take out some highs that they've put in the last few days. So definitely some strength across the board in some big names. And I think you've got to look at these names in terms of how this market will react once it gets to its highs as well.
All right, it's been an absolute monster day for anything specifically mining related in the crypto world. Coin having a great day, 12.5%, but these ones, Mara, Riot, BTBT is another one, Hut 8, another one, 24% move here for Mara, right back to session highs as we speak, as crypto itself trying to get back to session highs as well. This is Bitcoin anyways, back above 24,000 and then some. We get all the way up to 24,600 and change, bit of a pullback, but trying to go again here, 20.7% right now for BTC on the day. What a day for crypto markets.
I mean, I don't know if that explains why Nvidia is starting to finally, Nvidia is finally getting some good, some nice legs here. Back up to the up, sorry, I was just looking at Nvidia. I can go back to Nvidia, it's finally. We're short again here, but at 40, I don't know. Yeah, it just falls back down. We'll have to wait for Nvidia. I'm not gonna just stare at that for all day here. All right, so Coinbase again, up 13 damn %. Wow, there for anybody looking at Coinbase. Congratulations. If I had, you have the Bitcoin congratulations thing on yours. It's gone now. Yeah, you're gone now. So let's go back. Anybody that's been short or long Coinbase today has been a big success story. Again, look at that move. Right into the pre-market bottom of 51, like 51 to 61. Congratulations. All the way to the upside there. I was not thinking about this kind of a move, and it did happen. So you guys win on Coinbase. Huge move again there today. But if you're going to play off a top, as the NASDAQ continues to rock northbound here, it seems like there is some sort of a correlation between the NASDAQ and crypto. I think we've identified that a couple times here on the show. And it just seems to be like that again. You're buying these 58s, kind of coincides with some of these NASDAQ bottoms right there as well. That was made at 12:30. This is, 1 o'clock. 12:30 is right there. So, as we continue to bounce, obviously you're going to look at Coinbase and you're going to look at BTC together, or the whole crypto market cap, and just sort of follow that. That's one thing you guys can look at if you're sort of off-putting by Bitcoin, because Ethereum also moving around, right? So you could just look at the whole market cap and sort of judge it by that. But there's Coinbase on a 20-minute chart. It's been a wild ride. Down to 51. That was today. We were just up here, like this is just the last couple days. So right into here might be a good buy area. 57 if it dips back down. I'm just impressed with the way this is moving today, straight up to the upside. Where you might stop, I don't know. Because we're basically looking at crypto. So, that could go on forever. SI is a name that we hadn't really talked too much about here today. So whoa. Look at that. That gets blown out there. Remember, any volume, we are looking to short pops. Oh, that went to 360 today and then all the way back down. So that got blown out there to the top side as well. Wow. SI up to 360. Looking at a 20-minute chart, that was, again, $4. We really haven't broken there in the last couple days. So that would be something interesting to look at. Then 450s right there. But wow, that was a big move up. I think that's the missed trade of the day for me anyways. SI on a huge bump at 1130, got up to 360. I do see some talk in the chat about FRC and saying that my 34 level that I wrote down on the sticky note, which was the short every time it came up to it, once it finally broke it, it ripped to 40. So this 34 that we've talked about on the sticky note that I wrote at 7 o'clock or 7:30 is still in here. So there's 34, looks like a decent level, but again, halting like crazy. So I would never try to, it's done 100 million shares, which seems very strange. Every open must be tons of shares because it doesn't seem like it's been open enough to do 100 million, but FRC right now looks like 42, 43, the top, halted again back down to the downside as we wait on Nvidia. Nvidia was in the money, 20 pennies, and out of the money, 20 pennies. And oh man, this is just a pretty violent day today on the NASDAQ. Very whippy and very bursty. Not a good day to use a lot of shares.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the board, the rundown there, and of the two names where I really got smoked, it's going to be Microsoft, then the crypto side, which is Coin. Coin, again, same read as Microsoft, which was long, hey, look at that long, it looks good. Oh, that's where you're getting out? Okay, spin around right back. That's 10 bucks from the bottom from where I got out. So another hit there on coin. And it's just, it's tough. Everything fits into what coin was doing. It's just stop placement got me, right? And that happens, and I think it happens to a lot of people. And sometimes things move a little bit further than you expect them to. And I think in this situation, you can say that after the fact, but I think the big round number of 50 probably would have been the better stop than using 51. But anyways, now what do we do? The target when we initially took that 54 long was to take it to 60. Now 60, it makes sense in terms of where it's hesitating. Next up on coin would have been 65. So that was first target, and then you're looking at this as your second target. But the way coin's moving, this is good. Let them take their time going through this area, because when it comes to resistance levels, odds are it's going to need some time to work its way through. So it got all the way to 61, bounced down to 58, and now they're going to make a secondary push, it seems like, towards breaking that out, and then maybe take it towards 63, which would start your next little zone of resistance. So I think as it's moving like this, it could start developing some nice support levels you can work with to trail it higher. But coin, obviously, when you play at bottoms and you play at tops, those are the easy trades. When you start playing in the middle here, it gets tougher. And I think that's what you're starting to get into on coin. The easy trade is done. Now you start working with much harder levels.
Wow.
It's tighter to work with. And then once you get above 66, I think we're clear again, and then we can take another run. But for now, coin, tremendous move, 13% from 13% overall from the close, and a good 10 bucks from the bottom there, and looking strong. Futures market looking strong as well. So this ties into all, we looked at Apple, that was strong. Microsoft looks strong. A lot of these names, they kind of broke lows, put in a base, turned around, caught a bid, and now they're working their highs. All of it points to, hey, are we going to push towards those highs as we go into the close, or at least in the final hour? And it seems likely, but when something seems likely, you really got to be careful, because all it takes at this point is some comment, some insinuation, something to kind of just, it's a house of cards at this point, right? But for now, respect the long, trail it out. As you can see, I've got 4 longs. We're doing pretty well on most of them too. VLO up 38 cents, EWBC, another banking name I stepped into, 138 in the money, AMD up 52 cents, and then Bill is out 12 cents. So overall, we're doing pretty good on the long, but this really doesn't do anything until we take out the highs. Once you take out the 39.40, and if you take out the 39.40, I think you're going to see a lot of these names just take off to the upside, because I imagine there's some stops waiting there as well.
All right, let's talk. We'll circle back to Meta just to wrap things up here. Still kind of chopping around in this same area that we've been in for most of the midday. 183 ending up being a bit of a resistance point. We were talking about that Wall Street Journal note that was out over the weekend in the pre-market this morning, suggesting not only are they not done with job cuts, but some specifically in the engineering group going to be coming up in the next couple of weeks or so. There was this note as well, this customer. So they bought this business software company, Customer. I think it was fall of last year, Q3 maybe of last year, paid almost $1 billion for this company. And now they're looking for strategic alternatives, or looking to divest their this asset as a whole. But anyway, positive day here. Nice look for Meta once again.
The long is just so strong. I mean, unfortunately, we did get out of Meta. We did talk about how we were trading Meta off as your trade of the day off that bottom right there. And not a bottom, but just off some 181 support. It was a really tricky trade earlier on. I mean, I felt like, we wrote down on here 179 long for Meta. So obviously, when I look back and see where we are now, it's very silly, because there's the 179 right there. It came right back in, and we could have easily sat there and took it and just not focused on that, right? Comes right back into 179, and that was a great opportunity to get long. So, there it is right there. And why were we doing that? Again, just off of Friday's bottom. So it was tough to pick levels today for sure, and there goes Meta right now, breaking the high of the day. So good level for Meta, continuing to go higher. You're still running into tons of support here on the daily. So 190, I mean, you're well off that now, but you're still starting to go up. So wow, look at this move. Meta, wow, Meta just everything, like you mentioned there, Arun. Shorts not right early, but longs not right early, but longs right now as this market continues to blast higher. So wow. Oh, it's too bad. It's too bad. Like we were just sitting there and we were looking at Meta over and over and over again, talking about it hitting these tops and then finally breaking. So there it goes. Nice upside move for Meta. Just the move in the market continues to make these moves. It can still go a lot higher than this, man. You're only up 2.26%. So I think we could break higher. Yeah, just looking back at it, we're already through what we were doing today, which are these highs. So that's a good level there. 183. I mean, if you want to go long, hold it back to those high breaks. And then just into Friday again, that high is 185, so you can still get back to there. Where we were earlier on this morning was up right where we are right now, 184. So, you know, Meta just continues to work. Very strong name today on what appears to be NASDAQ rebound. I mean, we turned this guy. Remember, he was like halfway, and now it's quite clear that this is marching to its beat of its own drum northbound on the NASDAQ.
Yeah, and I think
Look at Tesla, wow.
Meta falls into the same category as every other stock that kind of took out the lows, put in a base, now working through the top. The only thing with Meta, though, the ranges are much tighter. It's not like Apple or Microsoft. The ranges are much tighter on Meta. So the window for the trade was sub 180. Now you're at 183. Trade, not that the trade's over, but it's harder to figure out the entry point now. It's for me, if I were to be in long in Meta and I was long at 180, this trade is over for me. Like I wouldn't even want to risk it without this market taking out the highs. We're getting closer, obviously, and that's why you see those bursts of like 5-6 points to the upside. They really want to take a look at those highs, but clearly there's resistance here, and Meta's got to get through a lot to the upside. So this kind of just runs through, and I don't think Meta's a high priority name anymore. Maybe down here, sub 180, but now at 183, not really a name for me anymore. And somebody in the chat was like, weren't you long Roku earlier? Yes, I was. And the issue was, that's also when I decided that, you know what, I wanted to go short on the futures. So I dumped my Roku to go short on the futures. And man, my decision making today has been off. There's your exit on Roku. Went short on the futures. Market rips about 10 minutes later, straight up from that 58.5 all the way up into the 60s, 61s. Yeah, that's been that's the kind of day it's been today. So for now, though, what I've got to do here is this bill position, for whatever reason, is not respecting what this market is doing right now. It's the only one that won't move with the market. It's just sideways. Okay, it's not. It's fine. I was worried about Bill because I'm looking at the chart on Bill. I'm just like, you know what? It actually looks half decent for a decent long here, above 74. Let's just take a run at maybe 76, 77, that afternoon high, or that midday high that we can take out. If we can take out 76, I can move the stop and I can figure out what to do after. But for now, Bill is taking his sweet time. But the other ones are doing all right. EWBC up $1, AMD up 40 cents, VLO, what's going on with energy? I know energy was down, crude was down 5%, now only 2.5%. Okay, I still think there's something there on VLO. We'll leave that alone as well. VLO up out 30 cents, 28 cents. So 4 longs right now. Waiting on this market to either take the top off or give me the signal to get out of all these longs right now. And then at that point, I can figure out what to do. But right now, obviously, with all the strength you're getting, this market, NASDAQ, could it get to 2% on the day? You got the strength out of the indexes. Let's see, out of the index names, let's see if NASDAQ can get to 2% going into the end. I also have to be very aware, like I mentioned earlier, about how they're going to trade this into the close with CPI coming out in the morning.
Yeah, we just, we'll end our trade there. We got out of all of our longs right now. I mean, we were just waiting for, we're back into the Nvidia short, which is now 30 cents in the money. Like, get blown out, lose 30 cents, make 30 cents. It's just a joke, which is like my frustration about trying to be more patient right now with some of these plays. But then I see it go like dramatically in the money, and then we get stopped out. Like, it's just this back and forth BS with the market, but that's what the market's all about. So there it is right there. We'll get out of Nvidia, taking out that 83. I don't know what signals, Arun, like you were looking for. You said like just waiting to get taken out on the top maybe to see if we test some of those highs. So the NASDAQ kind of did that, I feel like, at 12,200, and then you got that blown out top right there. So, you know, nice retracement back in off that blown out top. So that's kind of what I was looking for here in order to get short. So we do that. We get back into the short right now on Nvidia. And I thought, okay, I'm bidding a lot lower here into the 20s. So we'll wait to see if that comes into play or not. But here we go. Nice little short. Okay, here we go into the 40s. We'll take a bid right there if we can get it. We'll wait for a little bit lower. But there comes Nvidia. We just got stopped out on the high side there, right there, breaking through 232. Then we got back in once we sort of noticed notice that top wick. So again, it's not a great price. I wish obviously we had a better price on this, but we are now 45 cents in the money on Nvidia. Let's check back in on our meta out. So that was good, although we did have a nice high blowout there as well. But you are starting to pull back a little bit, just taking the 50 period out right now. Let's see if we can get a downside moving out. Now we go. As if Nvidia, that's okay. That's me at 97. Okay, good. Good take there. Like now we're $1, Arun, in the money. Like it's just, and I'm sure you're noticing that too with some of your longs, how easily this market just tipsy turns on you. Like we were just cruising with Nvidia shorts. And then boom, just got hit right down to the downside. There's $1 we just took right there in about 3 minutes. So I don't know where we're gonna go. We still have 60% of this one. Let's hold the short and see if we come back up to this 12,200. And if not, maybe we have something here. Let's put something else, 230.50. Maybe we get that touch as well. We just got out at 231.
Yeah, and there was a word that someone in the chat put earlier, and today your profits are most likely transitory. So the way it's been moving around, like if you have money, it ain't gonna last too long because this market just moves in a wave and it just happens very quickly. We were at 30 on the futures, and then here we are at 15. And that took next to no effort for this market to come all the way back down from 30 to 15. And we saw it earlier this morning, right? We saw when it was at 80 and went all the way up to like 25. No effort whatsoever. And that's the kind of market you're dealing with. So just trade accordingly in terms of how you position up, how you take profits. When the market changes and it starts to get faster, and I'm a position guy anyways, but now I'm not gonna wait for certain targets to get hit and then figure out how I wanna trade. I'm sending target or like orders to get out, take profits out because I need to lock something in because you never know when this market's gonna spin around. And I think it's just a matter of, yes, you trade the way you trade, but at the same time, when you know the market's moving around quite a bit like this and whipping around, you got to start locking in profit because at some point, it's going to spin on you quickly. So that's just, it's still trading your strategy, but it's adapting it to the current environment as well. And I think that's more of what I'm trying to do if I can actually hold on to these positions and get to a target of mine. But for now, we are still in the 4 longs. We've tightened up the stop on EWBC, by the way. I don't want to deal with the double top here. We've hesitated around that 54 to 55 once. Obviously, I went for the long, trying to get it back up to 54, 55. At that point, the risk made sense. If we are going to top out again, I want no part of this. I'm going to walk away. So this one, I'm long at, what, 52.33. If we get a little bit under 52, I might lose like 40 cents or so on this, but I do want to give it a chance to take the top. If we can't though, at least now the risk isn't $2 and change, it's like 40 cents. So that's a win. That's what you want to do, start moving your stops to the right places when you have the information to do it. And for now, all these deep winners have kind of come back a little bit with the market coming back in, but they're still in the money. The only one that's still in trouble is Bill, and I don't know what Bill's doing. It's just taking his time. I'll give it its time to do whatever it wants to do, but I'm in no rush to get out of Bill either because I do like the idea of this long here and see if we can't get towards the highs of 76.
Come on, Bill, figure your shit out. Yeah. I don't know. Is there any names you guys want us to look at here? We can check out FRC one more time. I haven't been in it yet today. I know Arun talked. Okay, halted again up. I mean, the spread here is huge. 39.34. Last halt right there. Price just halted again. I was going to talk about this being north of 40, and then it just halted downside. This is not tradable. You cannot trade this. So probably won't be looking at this anymore today. We talked about NIO making 52-week lows today. So did BAC. Just looking to see if there's anything else here. Here's my watch list here as we go. Rivian 52-week low. We can look at RIVN again here just to see what's going on with that. We're going to reload our Nvidia trade. Okay, we just did. So Nvidia, we'll talk about our watch list in a second. So here's the market just bouncing off the 50 period. So we just got another reload right there at 232. So far so good on that part of the reload. Let's put something down near 50 again. Maybe we'll get that. Maybe we won't. But there it is. Let's go. One more push down. We're in the 50s right here for Nvidia. One more push. We can get it. We can actually take it right now. I don't really know what we're too worried about it. I don't think that scalping, there's anything wrong with doing that right now, especially as we sit here and like try to recognize where this market's trying to go. This is a very tough trade. So, all right, let's go. Yes, sir. There it is. All right. So finally there, we'll go fail. Hopefully the market will fail now. Back down. I know I know Arun's short, long, but I'm going to see if this short wants to print. Coming back in a little bit. Here we go. Maybe we'll take another fill if we get into like the 30s again, and then wait to see. I mean, that 50 period is at 13s, so there's another reload there on Nvidia. We'll see if we can bring it back. I'm now bidding in the 30s. Sometimes you get these swipes, kind of like what that was right there down, but we did not get filled. We're at 36, and there it is again. So we'll go awesome one more time for that fill. So that's just as fast as you blink right there. That's 90s out 36s right there. So I don't know. I mean, I would love for this trade to continue to work, but I'm going to put something else in the 20s now. Maybe we'll just keep getting these out. If we're able to scalp them out, we'll do that back and forth, as our quotes are pretty good here. Watching out for Nvidia. Lots of dip buy opportunities and lots of moves to the upside. So I don't, again, you know, it's not to beat a dead horse here, but I don't really have. Well, you know what? Let's just go over to stocks that are moving around. Like I was going to say, I don't really have an idea on too many of these stocks other than what I'm already doing. So let's go somewhere else. Palantir. And by the way, you know, this is going to be out if we take out. I was going to wait for 232 with more averages in. No more right now here. We've already done it, but up here, 232.50, and then upside if we take out 233, or that top wick is 80. So we might as well wait for it. But hey, any more of a move upside for Nvidia, and we'll take some more shorts. Starting much higher than where we are now, 232.65, or I mean, I was waiting for right there, but we can get a little bit more in here. 232.30. There was another name I wanted to talk about real quick that I was just on. We talked about Rivian already. Oh, it was Palantir, up 8%. Oops, PLTR. That name was up 8 or 9% today, and bouncing off $8. So again, you know, look at the strength, and I don't know what this is from. Did we miss news maybe today, Brendan, on Palantir? Or this is just a move back up, because Palantir was sort of doing nothing all morning, and it didn't really have that move down. I mean, it opened up huge, moved down like 15 cents or so, and then just straight up all the way to 810. This was more than 10% at one point today. So Palantir is still staying strong and really near some of these levels. So $8, an interesting one there for Palantir. Congratulations, anybody that hit that one earlier. But there it is, man. Let's hold now. Let's go. Bring this down. Hopefully this market can stay below, for me, the 50 period, and we'll see about this at 230.50, my next bid. Yep, 230.70 is my next bid here for Nvidia. See if we can get another dollar on a reloaded short.
Yeah, this market doing what it does all day apparently, which is hit the top end and catch a sell wave. And now here we are back in towards 15. We were at 25 not too long ago, and now here we are back at 15. And I think you don't really get too much or put too much expectation until we take out the top. Once we get north of 39.40, that's a different story. But until that point happens, it really doesn't make a difference, because this is one of those messy situations. If you aren't in a position, and you're better off actually sitting out at these prices. It's different if we got near the lows or the highs, but the fact that we can't even get north of 30 in any meaningful way, that's the TLT, by the way. The fact that we can't even get near the highs or even towards the bottom end of this range. What did I put? ES3F. Okay, there we go. Pound F, the consolidated chart. So the fact that we can't even get up here, north of 30, maybe we could do something. Closer to the lows, this shouldn't be here. Closer to the lows, maybe south of 3,900, maybe we can do something. There's a 30-point range in there where we can't do anything, and that's kind of where this market's been trading for the last little bit. So you back off, you let it do its thing, and you figure out what it wants to do going into the close. This quiet period isn't going to last. The highly unlikely that this quiet period lasts going into the close. It's very hard to believe that they would keep it this quiet with CPI coming in on Friday, or sorry, tomorrow. CPI coming in tomorrow, and then you got Fed meetings next week. Is it?
Are there?
No, maybe the following
meeting
week.
is the 22nd.
22nd?
Yeah,
whatever.
9 days. So
it's happening soon. So
days.
There's a lot happening in the next little bit, and then you also have at the end of this week, you also have rebalances, because it's the third Friday, so you have options expiration, so you have a bunch of rotation happening across the indexes, and that's going to bring some volatility at the close. So you do have a lot of stuff happening this week that would bring volatility before we even get to the Fed meeting. So that's one to watch. I find it very hard to believe. If they close it right here, So if they close it somewhere between 39.30 and 3900, I would be very, very surprised, because that would just mean this market's just gone absolutely quiet on a day like this, where you have some index names putting in bases and longs, and you have a lot of banks. Quickly, what is okay, so Citigroup is down 6%. Yeah. Goldman Sachs is down 3%.
They're huge today.
So there's a lot of banks,
Morgan.
and these are like the big banks, not the regionals, not the very niche market banks. These are some big ones. Citigroup, BAC is down 4%. So you have some big names that tend to have some rebalance, or tend to have some imbalances that all of a sudden are down big. So it remains to be seen how this plays out, but I would be surprised if this ended up in a 30-point range going into the close.
30-point range.
30.
30, yeah, okay, good, okay. All right, yeah, so I mean, those banks, I mean, good look on all those. I mean, we talked about JP Morgan's, the Wells Fargo's, all that. I mean, it's not just the regional banks. You can also trade KRE, which is the regional bank ETF. So you can have a quick look at KRE right here as well. And that's at 52-week lows, now down 10%. This is your regional bank Spider ETF. So you could see this one just absolutely collapsing over the last couple of days right there, making brand new 52-week lows, obviously, for KRE today. If you think that this is kind of overdone and everything, then this is the name you want to buy. Don't just pick individual banks, man. I mean, you can if you want, but then if they fail, at least this is an ETF. You'll have to suffer through a lot of pain on this ETF, but so far today, it's been pretty good, man. I mean, I guess, has it been pretty good? I don't know. This is VWAP right there, bouncing off 44.50, possibly. And that's 45.50 right now, so there could be a nice little pull down. But that's anyways, KRE. I don't really trade this ETF or too many ETFs other than the Qs or something. That's the futures, the triple Qs. All right, Amazon, wow. We lost on Amazon early, real early, and then got out of the way. Like, these were all shorts. We eventually went long, and remember we had a keystroke error between Amazon and Apple, which got us out of Apple, which was fine. But we put on more short for Amazon right there than we needed to, so that's why there's too many outs. But overall, not bad. Definitely got stopped out, though. So red on this name today as Amazon just continues to climb up. But look at this. Like, this is kind of what I'm looking for. These 200 periods, we just keep on bouncing off of them. We haven't really retraced low enough to do anything about this, but the market is still staying upside right now. So I still feel like we want to buy some dips. So Amazon's been super strong. Let's just, I mean, again, up 3%. Just the opposite of what I thought. I mean, we could be wrong on a day. I thought it was going to be a red day today. Looks like we are well up. I think a lot of us thought it was going to be a red day. I had people messaging me last night like, yo, what's up with this move and everything like that? Shouldn't the banks be like holding the fort to the downside there? And it looks like the banks are, but tech is way up. And I think the tech is way up for one simple reason. And Brendan, we talked about this earlier with Brendan, and he just brought it to us right away. As of Friday, I'm just going to refresh the Fed fund rate tool. So as of, this is for the meeting in 9 days. So right now, this didn't even exist 2 days ago. It was over on the other side. It was 25 points, 50 points. Now this is 0. So there's still a 30%, let's call it what it is, 27% chance of a 0 increase, which I would think that would spark the market. And then you get, which is probably what we're doing right now today. And then as this number gets higher, like this morning, we were about 86% or so that we were at a 25% move. Now it's coming back in, and we'll see, even if you just, I don't know how often this was refreshed. I don't think this is like a real time or anything like that, but there, even higher now, 28.4. So this is starting to go to the upside for a 0, which should be good for some of these targeted tech names that are obviously very, very interest rate sensitive. All right, we just topped down to 231 again on Nvidia. We'll see if this is, oh, hey, what's going on, Rob? Rob's on the ones and twos there. Didn't even notice him until he hits it up in our ear. And he's so polite. He said, Mr. Brendan. So, Mr. Brendan, what you got?
We're wondering if there's going to be anything from this emergency Fed meeting today. There are some comments just coming across, guys. Fed says it will disclose total loan amounts under the new bank program weekly. Details of borrowers to be released a year after it closes. So remember, they had this meeting in sense to talk about what to do with these regional banks. So one comment, at least today, from the emergency meeting.
The emergency meeting, if it's an emergency, I would think that they would keep it tight-lipped, right? Because you don't want those comments getting out very quickly. So they do have to measure what they say. And I'm sure there'll be some stuff coming out. We might hear inklings of what's been talked about. But for now, we'll just deal with what's in front of us. CPI is coming up tomorrow. And for now, this market still flirting with whatever it's been doing in the last little bit, 20s, 15s, back and forth. Here we go. So I'm going to take my time to go into the chat. There was a question there from Bradley. Bradley is a floor owner from
London,
the UK.
Yes.
Outside of
Bradley.
Yeah. So he's always asking questions, great questions that I love to answer. Which is for beginner traders, how would you advise them to manage their account if their shutdown is, for instance, 4%? What should their weekly and daily targets be? Okay, so I personally have a different approach, and my approach is not necessarily monetary. It's in terms of execution strength. So if I develop a system, whatever your system is, to figure out whether how you want to approach the market. My goal for that week is then to execute that system without thinking or overthinking things. Because it's way too easy. It's like you have a system in place, you try to follow it, and then you think, oh, because of this situation, I'm going to do this, which completely derails you from following what your plan was supposed to be. So I'm a big fan of just, if you have something that you want to execute and you have an idea of how you want to execute it, flesh out all the details. If this happens, I do this. If that happens, I do this. And then my job for that day is to make sure that anytime a trade identifies itself, I take the trade. And obviously, when you have a smaller shutdown, that means you got to take enough shares or not less shares to make sure that you're not getting clocked every single time. So I would say when you're starting out, trying to build up that strength of just executing your plan, just take very little shares. Your shutdown should not affect you in any way. If you take 2 or 3 or 4 trades in a row that are losses, that should not affect you in terms of your how you manage going forward in terms of executing your plan. So if you can take 6 trades that are losers in a row and still execute your 7th, then you're clearly doing the right things in terms of execution strategies. Now, in terms of actual strategy that makes money, that's going to have to be adapted as well. We don't know how strong your strategy is. Does it make money right away? Does it make money over time? Those are things that you have to figure out. But in terms of at the beginning, in terms of monetary goals, if you're sitting here, the way I see it is the market is open for a little bit during the day, right? It's not open all the time. At least the US equity markets are not open all the time. So while it's open, I want to execute everything I possibly can see, make sure I can learn to read what I'm seeing. And then at that point, obviously once I get better, I'm using my low shutdown to teach myself. And once I get better at executing, then I can start sizing up, right? And then that eventually builds your stop losses or however you go about trading after that. But I think at the beginning as a trader, right at the beginning, it's not necessarily about making money. This is not a industry where you come in and you make a ton of money and then you walk away. It's going to be one of those things where you have to grind it out. That's the reality of the situation. The people that come in and make a ton of money, you probably struck at the right time, got lucky, and then you should walk away. Most people don't. You should. But you do have to build up the repetition and the ability to read, and that's what you got to do at the beginning instead of focusing on the dollars, is on your execution. And then after that, as you get better, the money comes as you slowly increase size, right? The way I see it is, if you are trading and then I'm trading a size and all of a sudden this is starting to get boring, the odds are that you're probably trading too small of a size. So you can just add a little bit more to the table. Not a lot, just a little bit more, just to see if you can actually handle the bigger size. And then slowly you work your way up. That's the way I see it. I don't put monetary goals down. I know that's probably not the way most people do it. To each their own, but that's just my approach to things. Is I care more about execution and performance versus, I guess, monetary performance. So yeah, that's just my take on it.
Yeah, I mean that's what Neil and I and I think we all try to. And I was speaking with a trader behind us as well, and it was very, very quick. But he was like, you know what? Like, I'm suffering like the biggest drawdowns like I've had in a while over the last little bit. And I said the exact same thing to that trader, and it was just like, slow down. Just slow down your size. If you're not feeling it, you're not hitting those home runs like you think or that you're used to, or something's changed, just slow down your trades. And that's basically what I've been doing today as well. You have to sort of do as you preach. And if you don't get good reads on the market, don't let today be 10 times or 2x what your what your good days are, right? Your bad days have to be in line with your good days. And if you're not feeling it, take some time off, go home, whatever. Say, yeah, you know what? I'm going to wait for a CPI. I'm going to wait for something that makes a little more sense to me right now. And meanwhile, as that goes here, it looks like it sucks. We were again pennies away from getting filled on Nvidia. Like it came right back into this 50 period right there, and we were sitting there at 25, and it went to 31s there. So hopefully that comes back in. Oh man, just missing fills is another frustrating part for traders, and sometimes that can happen to you. Like right now, if this goes up, I'm gonna book an L when we were just pennies away from getting out. So sometimes there also is execution risk that you have to deal with. Perhaps you don't have the right pricing, you're on a different gateway. It's just little things like that when you're day trading, and even for everybody else, maybe you didn't have a great night last night, a good night's sleep or something, or your workout is off or whatever. You can sort of figure that stuff out, and I guarantee you, those are gonna be the days Neil talks about all the time. If he gets a bad sleep or something, he can feel it in his trading. If you're that sensitive to it, then that's winning the battle. You should try to figure out what those little sort of indicators are for you and whoever else you're trading with there. All right, so here we go. We're almost out of WFC. I thought WFC would be a short into this VWAP and everything, especially on that news there from Brendan. It didn't sound like there was much going on. And whenever I hear stuff about emergent, there we go. Now we're stopped out, but. It's okay, again, not a big trade. Still, we give back some of our WFC profits from the morning right there. But every time I hear like emergency meeting, this and that sounds to me like more of a panic type situation. And if that's all they're gonna come out with is that the banks are gonna have weekly checks and balances or whatever that was, doesn't seem like that's enough. But there goes WFC. We tried to go short there. There's a nice move. We thought we broke the 200 period, then VWAP, and then we just got taken out upside on the 50. So a small, I mean, look, everything is cutting in, but there's another flush down one more time. We did make money on Nvidia. I mean, I'm going to wait to reload this. I want to make sure that we're at the right prices because this is where I'm getting stopped out. It's like, short, good, short, like these are all profitable trades. It's when I'm little small trades, bigger size, that get blown out and I have to have quicker stops. I think right now, smaller size into a bigger range is what's going to hopefully pay dirt for us right here. But that being said, here comes Nvidia straight up to the upside. Let's put a little bit more on right now as we've gotten to that level. So we'll short a 10 right where we were before. Let's short the 10s and then see if we can hold it up to this level, 233. Just got to make sure our stop order's in there. Only one position right now. You're still in all of your longs, which is nice. Nice move back up. We just reloaded. See, there it goes. There's the reload short on Nvidia. And right there, immediately, right there, I mean, that's awesome. That's the kind of shit that we're talking about right there on the downside. Pardon my French, but it's just been so frustrating, like just to watch. Holy shoot. Look at that. Look at that move on Nvidia. That's $1. We just made $1 in 1 minute. Like, you want to talk about, like, a good thing I got short there. I would have never, I would have been like, why didn't I re-short it there? But that's a good trade right there. And like, that's what we're talking about. I'm still going to be red on the day, but that's a good trade. It's a start in the right direction. Let's see now if Nvidia can pull back. There's the reload, and there's a couple more outs. Like, this is the kind of trading that I'm used to. Wait for it to be range bound, hit the outer ranges on some of these plays.
Yeah, this market is, I mean, the crazy thing is that within the market itself, when you look at the futures, it's not doing a whole lot, right? The moves are like 5-6 points when we get these flushes. And then you look at the individual names and the flushes are huge. Like you said, Nvidia being $1 on that move, on that flush, where the futures market moves like 6 points, I think. It's just how it's happening. It's not necessarily the size of the, this goes into a conversation that you guys have been having. It's not necessarily the size of what's happening, it's just how it's being done. It's just happening very aggressively, very quickly, and it's catching a lot of people off guard. So I think the algos are then trying to compensate for that. And here you are, wait, that was a 40-cent move. That wasn't $1. Never mind. Oh no, it's in VLO. But anyways, it's just how aggressive it's been and how fast the moves have been. And I think it's catching a lot of people that are in names off guard, and that's why you're getting that move down. Like EWBC moved down from $1.66 profit all the way down to flat for me on the last wave, and then now slowly worked its way back up. And that's what you're having happen across individual names, and I think you're starting to see that affect these names a lot more going to the close. Keep in mind, final hour, Imbalance is coming. You're starting to see some programs come online for the close. I think that's going to be a little bit more interesting than what's happening right now. Brendan.
All right, guys, we are happy as always. It is Monday afternoon to have Danielle Shea, VP of Options with Simpler Trading, and Mr. Luke is in the building once again to help us out on a busy week. Great to have you both. I mean, there's a ton to talk about, so let's jump right into it. CPI coming tomorrow. We get PPI this week. Give me your thoughts here. I mean, we get this emergency meeting from the Fed today. The overall market doesn't seem to care too much. Back to the upside, as Sean was mentioning when we came on at 2 o'clock, you know, if there's an indication even that the Fed's going to pause here and maybe a quarter point is the worst case scenario coming up in a couple of weeks, this is why, or a good indication as to why tech is rallying today.
Well, you know what, Brendan? I think that they're going to have to pause because when you're looking at what happened last week, I mean, the Fed was focused on inflation, right? And they were trying to battle inflation, but we knew that with the aggressive stance they were taking, they were very likely to break something. And look what they did. They broke the banks. So I think they're going to have to pause. I don't think that they have another choice because I think that bank stress is going to be more important than inflation at this point. And so, yes, I mean, that opens up the market for tech to rally.
Yeah, it's a very tough spot, obviously, you know, trying to weigh those two catalysts as to which direction you want to go to. I mean, we've seen some monster names in the news for all the wrong reasons over the past couple of days. Signature Bank, obviously a very well-known, well-established bank, gets taken over by New York State officials on the weekend. SVB, well discussed on this show. Going back to last Thursday and Friday as well. I want to focus on this WAL. Maybe give me your thoughts before we do. Give me your thoughts here on the entire group. From an option standpoint, how do you approach something like this? Is there, you know, pieces to be picked up at some point?
Well, you know, part of the problem is it's really hard to get into it now. You know, I honestly, I was kicking myself over the weekend because I was thinking, oh my gosh, this was literally the most obvious short, you know, in the regional banks. And I mean, at this point, they've been crushed so badly that I really don't know how you could get in it at this point to the short side. Because I mean, you'd be buying pretty much the dead lows. Obviously, some of these banks, if they continue to fail, then yeah, you could still short them. But honestly, I don't think we can do anything here. We might be able to start buying them once they bounce. But I still think that there's a lot of uncertainty. And so I wouldn't want to do it until we can really start to see some buyers come in. And then at that point, you may be able to at least trade a retracement, maybe 50% retracement in some of these regional banks. To the upside if they start ripping. And
that was kind of where I was going with that, in the sense that the CEO comes out for this WAL today and says, you know, everything's fine, financials are fine. He's such a great baby. Financials are fine.
Don't jinx it.
I'm sure they have their moments, right? The deposit insurance is covering more than 50% at this point. So, you know, there's going to be a few that survive here. So at some point, maybe this move to the downside is overdone. As you said, you know, we need to see some buyers. We need to see a bit of a bounce come into play first before you get too excited about it. But, you know, what does that time frame look like from an option standpoint if you were going to put on a position here?
So if I was going to put on a position, I would go out at least 3 to 4 weeks, and I would do it as a swing trade. So I would go out about 3 to 4 weeks, probably April monthly expiration. You could even go out into May monthly expiration. And with a play like that, you could actually do Delta 50 or Delta 30 out of the money options, which would mean that they're pretty cheap. Really, the only good time to buy out of the money options is when you have an extreme move like this. And so, you know, I think that that's definitely possible when we start going back up to the upside. But I think that my biggest concern right now is that, I mean, if you have your money in a regional bank, would you want to keep it there? I wouldn't. Thankfully, I use JP Morgan Chase. But I mean, if it were me and I had my money in any of these regional banks, I would be out of there. So I just think that this is going to, show continued pressure in this sector.
Yeah, no, it's a great point. And I mean, there was all kinds of video and all kinds of pictures over the weekend of long lines, of people doing whatever they need to on a Saturday, even just to try and pull some money out of their accounts. On that note, is there maybe one or two that we can look to, as far as, if you haven't got into it that far, that's fine, but is there one or two that you've been looking at for that type of idea?
No, and you know why is because with what's going on right now, it's incredibly hard to know on the back end without doing the in-depth macro, overall analysis, which one it would be. And so for that reason, normally what I like to do is I like to stick with the ETF. So you can trade the KRE. That is going to carry a lot less risk. And, I think that it'll be a much better average than trying to pick an individual name, because just even the way that those two blew up last week, it happened so quickly, and it was one of those things that just really couldn't have been predicted. So I think it's safer to stick with the ETF.
Fair. On that note, let's talk more positively, shall we? Because as I was saying when we came on here, there's a 25%, I think it was right now, chance that they do nothing at the next Fed meeting coming up here in 9 days. After all of this has come to fruition over the past couple of days. And that has tech, Apple, Microsoft, the big ones, obviously, back to the upside today. Great day for Microsoft, 3.5%. Apple's 2.25% right now. Even Tesla trying to get up, around that 1% to the upside. Tell me about your thoughts here going into not only tomorrow, but ahead of what's to come next week when it comes to big tech.
So usually the mega cap tech stocks are the ones that I look to trade first when the market starts shifting back up to the upside, which it's doing right now. And Microsoft is absolutely one of my favorites. So, I think trading Microsoft back up to 265, 270 makes sense as long as the momentum continues higher. I think trading Apple back up to 157 makes sense as well. And then what I would do after that is I want to watch those key areas of resistance, because Microsoft and Apple are the market leading stocks. And so if they end up breaking, if Apple can break up to 160, then that would be a major bullish sign for the rest of the NASDAQ. If Microsoft could break up above 275, I would love to see that. And then I could start getting even more, long and bullish on the market. But again, I want to reiterate the fact that it's going to largely depend on what happens with the Fed, and especially tomorrow.
Yeah, if we get that, hotter than expected number as we did last time, it's going to be, all of this could change once again in 24 hours time. I know you have your hands full. We appreciate you jumping on anyways, as always. Great information, great ideas, as always. He is. Mr. Luke, what would his choice be?
I think he likes Tesla.
Obviously.
What do you think?
Like son, like mother. Great stuff. Danielle Shea is VP of Options over at Simpler Trading. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Man, give me that baby. Damn it, Luke. Wow, what an amazing...
That's the quietest baby I've seen.
That's
sit there for a good...
That's a pretty quiet baby. What if he just had
time.
some melatonin or something? But yeah, great job there. Thanks, Danielle. It's very, very hard to focus, let alone talk like that with a baby there. So thank you. That was amazing. And next time I'll speak to her about a couple things as well. And we'll get some questions from the audience. We'll roll those through there every single Monday at about 2:45, 3 o'clock. We'll have Danielle Shea on, and thank you so much for stepping up and in right there. Okay, man, as you were gone, as we were gone with Danielle, the market's still moving around and made a nice move downside with a lot of names. Like Tesla just went from 177 down to 175, $2 in about 10, 15 minutes right there. Nice downside move, even lower, broke through. We got to 174.75. I'm looking to go short against this tick right there, 176 or so on Tesla. We'll get short in the... I want to get short more like in the 80. It sounds crazy, but I want to get short basically at this 50 period, give it like 30 cents. I don't want to give these names very much room today, that is for sure. Look what's, okay, well, I mean, right now, I just got to make sure that we're still there for us on Nvidia. Yeah, 60, I mean, we're right here, 65. There's the short. Against that, I mean, I don't know if we want to be too short anymore. I just got to cancel my AMD trade as that just popping in again to my blotter. We're not in AMD, but there's the short one more time on Nvidia. Let it go for that run. We just ran right up to the high of the day again on Nvidia. And I'm just going to use 233. Play the outside ranges. I mean, look at that. I mean, we just got that. We got it. Oh, don't tell me. Yeah, okay, there we go. See, zooming it out, showing you guys like sometimes costs, but right there, back in. So that's a 65 out 35 right there. So good trade. Here comes back in again. Let's put something else on the bid. Yes, sir. Holy shoot. There again. Wow, Arun. Okay. I mean, we just shorted Nvidia and we'll take 60 cents out of that right now. We'll short 65, sorry, 50 cents if we can get this bid at 65. So, I mean, right there, we're putting some money back in our bank account right now. And I think that's all that you can really do, man. Trade outside or like Arun's doing. I mean, two different styles. Luca talked about this on the midday show as well. You know, follow your own style. Don't follow anybody else's. But there, oh, just got missed there at 04s. I literally saw us and stopped. That was dirty for sure. I'm going to see if I can put something else in there. Oh, that's, see? Like Arun wouldn't give two craps about being missed by 1 cent there, but we just got missed and that sucks. So hopefully it pulls back down. Maybe we're at 11 now. Hint, hint. We'll see if we can get a fill back in. But see, like right there, that just cost me 35, 40 cents right there by missing that fill. It happened before, and yeah, it looks like it, shoot, just happened again. So, all right, we got to get our stop order ready to go, but if we take out 233, that's where we're going to get out, and we're just going to work this Nvidia trade. We got two outs at least, one for 30 cents, one for 50 cents. Almost got them all out down there, or a lot more out at 232 flat. Here we go, man. Just retracing back to the upside one more time with Nvidia.
Yeah, you might see that I've gone down from 4 positions to 2 positions. I'm starting to walk away from some of these longs, the ones that aren't really working the way I want them to. VLO, the energy play, Valero, that one just kind of went sideways for me. So I was like, you know what, if you're going to give me a flat exit, let me cover the cost of this trade, cover the fees and whatnot. I walked away from that one. We were along just above 129, and then we walked away somewhere here, just covering the fees. So it's not like I made anything on. I didn't lose anything. I didn't make anything either. So I'm flat on that one. And then EWBC. This was the one that was up like $1.50, $1.60, and then came all the way back down. Then it went being back up like $1.30 or something. I'm walking away from this one. We're getting too close to the end of the day. It's not making a move. And then I looked over at WAL and it was halted to the downside. So when I'm trying to play these banks, especially these regional players, and I start to see us struggling to take the top, and I see another name that's halted. Mind you, WAL has been halted from like $8, right? It's just been halting up, halting down, and then halting up, and then here we are halting all over the place. So when we get this late into the day, this could still work out. Like EWBC can still keep going up. I just don't want to get involved in it because it gets very, very messy. Because if you look at the level 2 on it and you add programs that want to deal with the imbalances,
oh yeah, the imbalances.
And you got a 10-cent spread, done 11 million shares, and it looks like this. So it's just one of those things where not going to get involved in this. I'd rather not make a play for this at all. So I'd rather just take my profit, walk away from this. We're going to hold on to AMD. AMD's still doing its thing. It's taking its time, but at least it's doing its thing. And that's up 40 cents. And then Bill has not responded well to our long. AMD, if we can get to 83.50 or even close to 83.50, I'll start making a decision on whether I want to keep this or not. The fact that I'm close near the bottom end of this consolidation low, it gives me the space to actually let it play out. Maybe I'll take this into the imbalance, see what the imbalance looks like, and maybe we get a play. Maybe we don't.
Sir.
But I'll try to hold this one out just because of where I'm positioned. And then Bill is the other one that I've got that hasn't really responded well since I've gotten in. It's just done this, right? We're long 74.50, so we're long right here somewhere. And it's just trickled down. It's not really moving, but it is trickling down because it's the way it's moving, and the scope of this whole move is like from 69 to 76, so the range is wide. So it looks like a small move, but it's actually a decent move to the downside. So this one, for me, I'm going to tighten up the stop on this one. I think if we get below 73, I'll call it a day, walk away from this, take the small hit. and just move on. But at this point, you got to be very careful on how you position in because of imbalances, because of what you got tomorrow morning, because of just overall risk scenarios. Today's been a whippy day. You saw it, a lot of programs in and out, all over the place. So just control your risk as we get into the end of the day, because this is when things can get dangerous, especially when it's been quiet for the most part in the afternoon. A lot of people, a move like, say, we get into 30s, or let's just say we move up to the 30s, it can get a lot of people excited that we're going for highs and then instant turn, right? So just watch out for situations like that as we get into the end of the day, because things do get more whippy as we get closer and closer to the close.
Yeah, whip it real good. This is a nice move to the downside right now for us on Nvidia. I'm going to take another beat. I mean, just put a bid 83 there. Hopefully we'll be able to get it. Our best fill is 02s off another reload at 80. So again, we're like making dollars, not cents on this one. Like, this is a nice downside move. We're now in the money 70 cents, but we were just in the money $1 as it bounced off 70 downside. I was waiting for here again, 65s, and it just literally bounced off at 80, sorry. So we missed it by 10 cents. Hopefully it does fall back in. Last time we missed it, it fell through and hit us. So hopefully it comes back. There it is again. So yes, sir. There's another one. We'll go, oh my God, because all we're really doing is we're trying to stick with our game plan, hold some of these shorts off of some of these highs. So even if Nvidia rips all the way back up now, like, we've been taking it out on the way down. We're never going to have like that huge winner where all we're maxed out. Like, oh my God, we've got 4,000 shares or whatever at the top and it's $5 in the money. Like, that's not what's going to happen for me unless it's kind of a fluke out of nowhere, and I don't want that to happen either. I'd like to be controlled, but again, so we'll just keep on averaging it. I'm just talking about on a day like today. I don't see, some days you get up to key levels. It's just today, I'm like, don't know what a key level is anymore, man. I mean, we got, Meta was good up here. I think that 183 was pretty good right there where we got out, but then it went to 180. Like, how many hundreds or whatever shares can you have holding it almost 80, 90 cents against you? So we got out right there off of this key bottom, but now you're starting to break lower. So let's just freaking go right now. Let's go to the downside. Come on, man. We are now $1.20 in the money on Nvidia. So next out, like, we've already gotten to 231. Why can't we do that again? 231.12. All right, let's put one somewhere, 231. 22. Let's see if we get a fill at 22. So 20 cents away. Come on, bring it. But see, now I see a 35 fill. There it is, 22, 24s, 22s. Did you see that on the bid? 22s stacked with me. If you don't, you better. Did we just get it? Yes, we did. Okay, good. Woo. Okay, we got a swipe fill down there at 22. So that was a good fill for us. There it is. So just filled us. And of course, now it goes to the downside. Yes, sir. Good trade, man, all over the place. And of course, our WFC just fills in right now. I got to start canceling some of these trades. But there it is. Good trade for me on that one. We are now $2 or almost $2 in the money. $1.60 in the money on that fill right there. We're going to just, this is a fluke trade. We do not mean to be in to WFC. So let's just get it out right there as it hits 96. This was my out on these shorts, but we got taken out, just filled back in. That's whatever. That's not a real trade. Well, it's a real trade, but we don't mean to be in on that one. And then there it is right there. Look at that fill. So we get a 22 off of a 73 short up here. That's $1.50. Let's see if we go downside. Next target. Let's do this, man. Nvidia right there, 230.50. See if we can get $3 on this trade. So downside now for Nvidia. Let's see if we can make this happen. See? There we go. So what was a bad day still is, but making a little bit of money back here, and by a little bit, I mean a decent amount. Let's go. Come on, Nvidia. Break that 231 to the downside. Any updates on your positions there, Arun?
Yeah, I just got another one out. Again, I'm slowly starting to work away from them, and AMD still walked away from this one with money on it, a few cents, not a whole lot, maybe like 10, 12 cents in profit there. Again, AMD not doing what I want, futures market backing off these 20s, that becomes a problem. AMD is going towards the back end of the bottom end of the level. I don't want to be involved in something like that. If I don't get help from the futures, odds are AMD being an index name is not going to be, it's somewhere there in the NASDAQ. I don't know where it is in terms of weighting, but it's somewhere there. And I think for me, this is what I'm dealing with, sideways action. That's a 5-minute chart, and that's pretty much what we've done since noon, right? So the fact that we're not getting it, I was willing to give it a chance because of where I was priced. As soon as I lost the futures, I'm like, you know what, take what I got. I don't need to put any more risk on the table for this. And so I'm only left with all the ones that were in the money, I'm out of. The only one I'm left with is Bill, and Bill is just in a spot where I can't get out right now because there's support, and in the event that futures market catches the bid, Bill will make a move, but it's also just trickling down. So I'm kind of stuck in a position where I can't do anything about it, right? If it takes 73, I have a reason to get out. If it moves back up, okay, we can do something about that. But right here, this is one of those situations where you're in a position, you really can't do anything because you either need the market to move up or down, but you don't want to interfere with trades like this when they're taking their time to do something. Just because it's against you doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to keep going against you. You have a read in mind, right? So let that read play out, and that's what I'm trying to do as we get closer and closer to the close. Futures market, 39.05. Let's take a quick look at where we can potentially find some bids. Last time we were down here, we caught some bids around 90.95. Maybe we can catch a bid down there. It's a little late for me to start building a position on the futures, I think, with us being having to be flat by the end of the day. So I probably won't do a whole lot now, but I think having these levels in place could be useful for later, meaning tomorrow, meaning once they blow through it with the CPI, it probably won't matter anymore, but at least we need to know where the CPI is going to go through before it accelerates, right? And I think having these levels in mind will be helpful. And this is what I was mentioning off the top there about as we get into the end of the day, as we get to the close, there could be some risk-off situations as people position up or even clear their books for the CPI, which is that much more weight now between what the Fed has said and what's been happening lately. How much influence? I think there's going to be a lot more influence here on the CPI there coming in tomorrow. Brendan.
It took a while to find some details on this, but Wall Street Journal initially reporting this. Boeing did have a huge volume spike there. Traded higher initially on this, but has since come back down with the overall market. Saudi Arabia Airlines is apparently looking at up to 80 787 airplanes coming from Boeing, guys.
All right, thanks, Brendo, on that one for Boeing. But, I mean, let's just go hit the money. It hasn't been a lot of that today, but, I mean, all of our cuts on Nvidia pretty small, and then we opened it up a little bit, and now is a nice move down. So you're starting to get a nice little take to the downside right now on Nvidia. So, I mean, here we go. We're now $2.30 in the money as this continues to make a move down. So the short right now is paying off. And, again, like, I wish I was smarter, but like, I don't know why the short is so good right now, but so much trouble for me before. You know, like just wait for the market to break. I mean, the market was, in my opinion, was breaking lots of times here. You know, each time just kept on getting higher and higher. And then eventually, I guess we just respected that. We talked about that top wick at 12,220. And there it is now, downside move for the NASDAQ. So I wish I had a little bit. I mean, if anybody there, send me messages on the Twitter machine or whatever. Let me know. Like maybe there was something up here for Nvidia. Like I just feel that we waited, and maybe that's the answer. Don't trade here, but to me these are pretty close to the highs anyways. It's just the problem is today it's very, very whippy. So some of these little ticks, even just a little wick is like $1 sometimes out. So that was really the toughness of that trade. But I don't think the market cared for Nvidia to fall down. That's why it's just like we just take the trades and get pretty lucky that it falls down, to be honest with you, because we had a bunch of hits in here on Nvidia. Nice move down, and it came right into the 200 period, and that's right where we got out. Also past outs as well. Like just there, 232, 230.70, like that's $1.50. So, you know, don't cry for me again, but these are good trades, and we are making some money back today on all of that. So good job on that if you're able to find some of those trades coming through. WFC's not really moving. You know, a name, and just a shout out to Neil because, you know, he likes to short Intel. Intel today, downside. Now, I think he's been going long lately. I'm not even sure what Neil's been doing lately on Intel, but these are generally shorts. And again, sort of the same thing. We just made a high, and there's the pullback. To me, this looks like a better long down here because you have the 50 period and VWAP, but 327, and you actually caught me off side a little bit there, Arun, because I kind of forgot that we did have the imbalances coming through today. So not today, just how close they were to 350. So we have to wait to see. But for right now, we're 250 in the money on Nvidia, and it looks like it wants to come back in. So I always feel like we got to take it out at the even level, but maybe not. Maybe the market does want to come down, and this 230 won't even hold. So let's wait to see here. Here comes on Nvidia. We are now, I mean, this is getting close to $3 in the money right now on this name. I feel like I'm going to take it out. We just stopped there I'm going to take a piece out and hold the rest. I mean, why not? We can do that, so let's do that. If Nvidia does come down back into 230 again, we'll take one more piece out and hold the rest to see if we get that ultimate move to the downside. For now, we'll wait 2 more minutes until those imbalance numbers come out. Meta still up 1% on the day, and Nvidia just trying to hold on.
Yeah, and a lot of, I mean, with the futures market now sitting in the low 90s, there you go, another fill for Sean there. With the market coming back down to the lows, I mean, if you wanted shorts, the window has closed. That's pretty much it.
How could have we known that that was the short? You couldn't that time.
I mean, I was long in 4 different stocks,
Right,
and then
exactly,
I
okay.
started walking away from them. But I never ever thought I would actually be like, you know what?
Negative on them or whatever?
Well, no, I at least the 3 out of 4, the 3 that I got out of, I made money on, or barely, but like just to cover the fees. And then Bill, I'm stuck with on the long. But the ones I did get out of, I never actually spun around and thought, you know what? Maybe I want to go short. So there you go. There's a move. If you wanted the short, it was up there at 20s when we were there for a while. And now here we are at 90. So a 30-point move in about, 15 minutes? Here we are going into the 330. At 330 is like a transition point, right? 3 o'clock is when the first batch of programs come on. 330 is the next, 330, 335, you get the next batch. So you might see some action here. We might even break underneath 90 to take it down to 85 and catch something down there. But I do think now as we enter into that 3:30 to 4 p.m. window, this could start to get a little bit more aggressive. And I think that's why you got to be a little bit more careful. And I think I'm sitting on Bill here, and I don't even know if I want to take this into the close because of, not the close, but take this into the imbalances because it's not working. Odds of it coming back are pretty low. I'm just, at this point, it's damage control on Bill. We'll just see how this is going to bounce off these 50s. If it doesn't bounce strong, I'll just walk away from this one. This will join the group of Microsoft and Coin as my big, well, it's not too bad, but Microsoft and Coin being the big losers of the day for me on the equity side, and then Bill would be in the medium loss size. And then everything else has been flat. I've got a bunch of names that are in the money or I've made money on, but barely, because I've either covered fees or they've been trailed out or whatever the case is. Futures market catching a bit off the 90s. Okay. Are we going to play the range still into the close? Like I said, I was going to be surprised if we close between 39.30 and 3900. Now we're starting to make a move down towards the range lows. This is more likely the scenario here is that we work near the top end of the range or the bottom end of the range, and then we try to squeeze something, whether it's the stops on the bottom end or the stops on the top end as we go into the close. And I think that's what's happening here is that we're trying to bounce out from these 38.90s, and then we get imbalances at 350, and that'll change the game definitely as we go into the 4 p.m. close.
All right, I was just a little bit there because Meta did go to 181. Those are those levels that we talked about here on our trade of the day where, you know, again, Meta's a nice, well, obviously it's a positive name. We only traded it once here today and there's no ticks below where we're in, so that's good. But right there, 181, just looking to see about a dropout through Meta through this level of 181. I won't give it too much room, but if it does come back in, let's get a fill here. Just stop that 20. We'll give it downside a little bit for Meta if we can get that. But while Arun was gone, you might have heard me. I was like, oh, we got that fill. Like, well, I mean, obviously we did. We were at 15s there, and it went all the way through, and it actually broke through 230 temporarily right there. So we get the fill, it bumps up, and then it just cranked lower. Its low right there is 229.91. So again, there's a fill right there, 232.75, and there's an out 230 flat, 230.15. So 260 there on that last piece. So pretty good on that. Now we'll wait to see. I'm not shorting it anymore. Just let it go. If it goes back up, it goes back up. I'm not in it. So, well, I'm still short. But again, this is like 5% of this position. Most, honestly, this was a good out for me right there, 231.20. So, you know, we don't have the complete move to the downside, but, you know, pretty good move down. Let's see if we can hold it again. I just want to hold into the end of the day. Hopefully we can get that play. And then just looking back, it looks like Meta will probably come in, especially if this market just sort of hangs out down there. So right now, Meta looks like it wants to get back to the upside, but we'll hold it. Hopefully it comes into 181.20. We're sitting at the ultimate bottom potentially for Meta, so that's what I'm looking at right there for Meta. What's up, Brendo?
These regional banks guys, the CEO, feeling the need to just make a statement, an SEC filing. I'm speaking of Bank of Hawaii this time. Here's another one. BOH down huge today. Was way more than what it is currently. This thing got all the way down to 34.5. We're back to 52.5 right now. CEO saying deposits are well diversified by industry and depositor type. The average consumer balance is 18,000. They go on to talk a little bit about commercial balances. We have ample liquidity and our regulatory capital ratios remain strong. So this is the second one today with that type of a statement for BOH.
Oh, BOH. I love the timing.
Oh,
This
BOH.
is actually a name that Bank of Hawaii, right?
Yep.
I was actually in this earlier during the midday.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was in there for a little bit. And this is, sometimes my timing sucks, sometimes my timing's all right. Yeah, we were short there. And then I saw that it was in the money, actually, and it went through 50. I was like, okay, this is the chance for us to accelerate. As soon as it snapped back up, because I was short around 51, and we went through 50 and then snapped back up. I was like, okay, you know what? I don't like that. I don't like the idea of this taking out a big round number like this, a stock that's halted pretty much all day. And then it catches a nice little bid after we broke a round number. I'm like, no, I don't want to be part of that. So we walked away from it, and then it continued its move all the way back up. This is one of the other names that I covered the fees, made the money, so the transaction was essentially zero for me. But another name to play, and that's the thing. These names are going to come. You're going to maybe see a read on them. You might get into them a little bit late, but you do have to be extra sensitive to these kinds of names because of what they're doing on the day. A stock that halted all the way down at 34, 35, went all the way to 63, and then comes back down and catches a bid after trending down at 50 of all places, that's a problem. And I think those are the things that you watch out for, is like those characteristics in stocks. Because obviously it's all psychological. You got to start playing. Why did these big round numbers matter? Because like psychological levels, right? People love to play big round numbers like 50, 50, 100, whatever. And then the even dollar, yes, but like 50 stands out a lot more, especially on a name like this. So I think that's what you got to pay attention to, is these like tendencies of some of these names. If you watch one specific name all day, then I think you start to develop tendencies. And then once you see what the sector's been doing, specifically these smaller banks, then you start to realize where there could be issues and whatnot. And I think Wall was another one from earlier today where it halted south of 8, where it was at 8.50, halted, broke down, went to 7 something, snapped back up. And then once we got above 9, the trail point, and then it just took off all the way to 30, or 25 actually. So you just got to pay attention to tendencies, because a lot of these stocks are going to have that because people are playing this, and you got to pay attention to the psychological aspect of the market, because that's essentially where the money's going to be made. If you can figure out where the pressure points are, then you know which direction most likely. Essentially, all you have to do is play the direction that would be most painful for other people, as twisted as that sounds. Because that would be the easier path to making money, or the easier path for the stock, versus going the direction that's harder. That requires more people to pile on, right? Easier is when everyone panics out, and then you just go in that direction. So that's what kind of you're paying attention to, and that's what I'm looking forward to anyways with these regional banks. So this one was a red flag for me as soon as it snapped under, and then snapped right back above 50. And then Bill making a move. Okay, Bill, are you going to give me my money back? Bill coming back in now, making a light rally, and I know I'm going to use this to get it out because I don't want to be in this anymore. So let's see if I can do some damage control on Bill and walk away with this with a much smaller hit. So we're getting closer and closer to the end of the day. We'll see how this one plays out. This market sitting on the low end of the range here, trying to make them bounce back towards that 39.20 top end of the range. Maybe, remains to be seen.
Brennan came with a 158 to sell, so pretty small here into the close. So not super excited, but look what happens right here. We'll go flush ourselves down the drain on what was, I thought, a good idea. Not really though. Look at WFC. It just, collapsing now, but what a surprise. We were short here 39, it's down to 61, but of course we did get stopped out, so nothing I can do about that trade. Unfortunately, we got stopped out right there when it broke a little bit higher. Now WFC, it's the second time. One stop out there, one stop out there, and now you're back into the downside. So this is kind of the frustrations that has been trading for me today. Not getting the exact prices and getting a little too carried away as we go on some of these plays. I did like what Miss Danielle Shea was talking about, again with KRE. I talked about that earlier. I talked about it last week with Neil about the regionals, right? Some of these banks right now, what we want to look at. So KRE, another play in today. You know, right now I feel like the move is probably over. FRC, sorry, halted again. Now it's back down to 30. So here comes another move back in. Again, with the liquidity, pretty good, man. The liquidity is actually not bad. You can get your shares. You just got to pay the price. Like when it starts to go, the spreads are here. 120 million shares. It's not like it's impossible to get shares here. It's very possible. But for me, I don't really, this is not really my style of trading for sure. Like 27 bottom, it's just like, you're just gonna have to adjust your share size. Like if you're trading 100 shares, you know, realize you have to lose about $5 or something. That's $500, like real quick, just on some of these halts. So this is just another one. Starting to go off again right now. That's KRE back to the upside right now, baking through 32. So you guys can look at that if you did want to. Google's been, I mean, let's just think about this tomorrow. We're going to have CPI, so that's going to be 8:30. So that should be, CPI is 8:30, I believe. So that should be a lot of fun. But just in case you're wanting to know like what names have been pretty strong today, it still remains the same names. Google strong out the gate today. Again, not out the gate, but just kept on going back to the upside. Look at that VWAP again. Nice move for Google. I feel like Meta's been strong. I'm still trying to get. We missed that. That's my bad. We should have been there again. We were watching Nvidia, but again, 181, a level to remember there for Meta for tomorrow. And then Apple, which we wrote down as being strong earlier. But again, ever since above 150, as long as we're above 150, these little SS's on the sticky note turn into an L, because we really, well, an L if you're SS. This is where we were short today, 150. We're able to make pretty good money early, but then there's the out, and then we wound up going long, short again. Apple's been fine today. It's just, we haven't really traded it against this 153. That's been the top, but also 150 here, possibly as a bottom for Apple. So that's another name that you might want to look at here for anybody trading Apple or any of these tech names. Microsoft has been super strong. Microsoft Arena is still up 3%. That's still going right now. Again, a nice bounce off 255. So some of these stronger names have really been holding. Back to the oil patch, you were already in Valero. XOM's been a good one. That was recently at 52-week and all-time highs, XOM, and right now back to 106 again. Okay, that's broken a little bit lower, down 1.29%. What's oil down right now? Oil down 3% off of a crazy day in the oil market today. So, all right, only 1.3% right now for the NASDAQ, but hey, good day. Looks like it's trying to bounce right now off that 50 period. I'm not sure where we end, greater or less than 1% right now. The ES is the one that's more in question, as that's at 3,900 and right now only up 0.2. So ES, one of those markets that are a little bit less than the NASDAQ today. And again, I believe that's oil, bigger in the ES, and of course banks. There's absolutely no banks in the NASDAQ. So that would make sense why the big discrepancy right there.
Yep. All right. As someone said, I believe Nino in the chat said, Kill Bill, we did it. We got the right price. Damage control is done. How I got that exit, I don't even know. But yeah, we walked away just covering the fees on this one. The transaction costs at least on this one there. So we're good. We're now the only ones that are staring me in my face on the long side, or on the loss side for me, is that damn Microsoft and that damn coin from this morning. Those are the only two losers on the equity side for me. Obviously, we lost some. We made some money on the futures, then we lost some money on the futures on the short around the evens that popped off through the 10s. We lost there. So overall, it's been a messy day to say the least. I don't think I've traded this many different equity names before. It just goes to show how much opportunity is available here in the market when things get whippy and it gets just moving around quite a bit. At futures market, not doing a whole lot right now. We caught the bid at 38.90. We're actually right back into the middle of the range. It's clear that they want to respect the 90s. They want to respect the 2025s. And here we are trading at 05. What do you do? Nothing. You do absolutely nothing. You save your energy. Don't waste your time. That's the thing, is when it comes to trading, it can be exhausting in terms of energy, right? So what you want to do is just take the trades that are the easiest. You don't need to worry about all the trades that you missed, and you missed this trade, you missed that trade. Well, Tesla was worth $8 or Microsoft moved $10. Like, yeah, but you gotta focus on the ones that you're specifically looking at, there's a reason why you're looking at them, right? Don't worry about all the ones that are, that you could have caught. It's the ones that are in front of you in terms of opportunity. So right now, with the futures doing what it's doing, there's nothing to be done. There will be a time to do something with the futures market. Obviously, we're running out of time for the day, but 40 would have been something where we could have done something. And then south of 80, for me, south of 80, south of 90 into the 85s to 80s, I may have looked at something earlier in the day, not right now though. But when it's trading inside of the range, do something else. Whether it's, if you're all about trading equities, go for it. Me, if I don't have anything on the futures, if I'm not on the show and I don't have anything on the futures, I'm not doing anything. I'm just waiting for this market. And sometimes that means having one trade during the day. Sometimes that means having no trades during the day. And that's part of it, if you're okay with that. And you should be okay with that because you don't want to force trades. At the end of the day, forcing trades costs more than just letting whatever your system is work out. And I think I'm a big proponent of just like, if you have your system, if you have an approach, if you can quantify what your strategy is, meaning write it down and explain all the details of it, then you have a pretty good strategy. That means you can clearly explain how you want to go about taking trades. That means that you have a pretty good idea. Odds are you just need to follow it at that point, right? So if you can write it down, then you just got to follow it. And for me, I know what I have to do. And if I can't find anything, I don't do anything. So that's what it is. We've got the imbalances coming in about 5.5 minutes or so. Early projections are to the sell side. It looks like it's going to be about 150 million, 58 million, I think that you guys saw, or you guys posted. Early look says 158 million, roughly. That's not a whole lot for a market that's up 1.28% on the NASDAQ and then barely up on the S&P side. On a day like today, are the imbalances going to be big? On the tech side, what I'm more curious about is from the big banks, because the big banks are negative. BAC always tends to have a big imbalance. Yeah. Let's see if BAC has a sell imbalance today. Citigroup also on the table. WFC, all these names tend to have big balances that disappear. I'm very curious how large these imbalances are going into the end of the day, because I think that could shake up things on those individual names. Because, I mean, BAC comes out with like 5-6 million shares on the imbalance and disappears after 355. Is today the day where you come out with like a 10-15 million share imbalance? I mean, I haven't seen one on BAC in a while that's stuck around, but I would love to see something like that because that could actually affect the market and affect these names going into the end of the day as we get closer and closer.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I would not be surprised if we do get some nice big imbalances there. And again, I want to thank Arun for stepping up for Neil today. Thank you so much for that one, as Hydration Nation is strong and in charge here today. As Arun and I both have these gigantic water bottles. So drink as much as you can in water, stay hydrated, especially if you're talking all day about markets. So that's something that you want to make sure you're doing. All right, so I've canceled everything right now. I'm going to wait for those imbalances to come out. I was just looking at Tesla. I don't know why this says Nvidia and one says Tesla. Okay, hold on. So this is my Nvidia. We're still in this trade. I'm going to hold it the rest of the day. I mean, we're below the 50 period. We're below. Everything's fine. Let's just wait to see what these imbalances do. I did want to look at Tesla again because Tesla went for a run and then stopped completely at that 76. So again, I had a short there. I canceled it. Wish I didn't. Our short was right there, 175.50. We talked about why we like that short before, right into that 50 period rate. I know we broke the 50 period, but right into 176. You know, a lot of top moves. And again, if I'd be in this trade, which I would be. I was at 175.95 or something like that. But it just this would have been my stop, about $1 worth of upside move, and I just felt like into the imbalances, as Arun's been so eloquently talking about them, it's a dangerous game to start to play all these imbalances so close to them. And you'll see what happens when this market comes out. Just a quick check, just to check on names. I'm just checking on names. If there's anything you guys want, put it up in the frc.ny. Right there. So just to see what's happening right here. Last halt of this name was 34, opened up, went down, touched 30, up to 34, 32 and change again right now. AMD, we can look at that. I actually traded AMD today, so it's going to be an easy one. Whoops, easy one for me to look at right here. AMD, so yeah, I almost put a trade out on it. Yeah, that's what I said that whoops for. Yeah, 82. AMD is looking like a good short as well, but again, we can't, I don't think Arun and I can really say this enough, man. Tomorrow we have CPI, so you're 10 minutes away from no more liquidity today, right? It'd be 4 o'clock. Sure, there'll be some liquidity. Don't at me for that. But, there's going to be some liquidity, but not that much. And then you have also in 2 minutes, you have an event that's going to trigger a lot more liquidity for no reason, for reasons unknown to us right now. So I feel like it's a little risky to get in there into anything right now. But yeah, AMD, if you're going to look at a longer term time frame right now, the 20-minute chart, you're still in this group. I don't want to tell you one way or the other, but to me, it's not exciting yet, man. You got to get down to 80 here, up here, maybe to 85, 86, still in this range. Is there going to be day trades there? Yeah, like throughout the day. But to sit there and call something right now, I think is a little silly. My number one trade, though, I mean, if I like Meta. Meta came down here to 181 a couple times, and every time is blasted to the upside. Right there again, boom, up to 182.50, $1.50. So we'll be red today, but it's not by much. We've had a great trade on the end of the day here on Nvidia, which really saved my bacon a lot to the downside there. So it's a nice move there for Nvidia. And then Wells Fargo has been a good trade for me all day. This would have helped my net get a hell of a lot closer to green right there. Shorting 39s. You're now 50 cents in the money and basically back to the day's low. I mean, give or take that very crazy open where we have the bottom of the day. It's funny because I basically have the top there and the bottom there, and then that's really the top where we got stopped out. But right now, Nvidia is coming back and pulling into 38.50 with the imbalances on the horizon. Only 30 seconds now. We'll see where they go. And then when they come out, we'll talk about them. So, we'll do that. It's coming out right now. I'm going to hold Nvidia. I don't even have a stop out for it. Let's just wait to see where it goes. Right now, we have Nvidia here into the close, and hopefully a little downside pressure with only 15 seconds to go. So no matter where you are in this lovely world of ours, there's now 10 seconds to go. So it's 3:49.52. Just giving you an update. We are here in Toronto, 55. 56 on the East Coast. Here we go, 350 right now. There we go, we got GM with the sell side. Palantir with the sell. We can check GM, that's big for GM. Right there, General Motors, 3 million to sell. So yeah, you're gonna see a little tick down, good tick down, about 10 or 15 cents on that. Okay, there we go. Apple, this is going to be a big sell, I would feel like. Apple with a big sell, Amazon with a big sell right there. Brennan, there it is, 2.6 billion to sell. Microsoft with the sell. Look at the moves that's happening right now. See, like you want me to take long? I mean, right now we're ringing the register right now. Money trade coming in on Nvidia. But this is why. You want to go long with these imbalances coming out when we have no idea? You just lost $1 right there instantly on Microsoft, let alone all these other names, Apple, Amazon, and the rest of them. Start new day's low right now for Apple. Not new day's low, new session low, I should say, as we just took down that 151. That's what we're waiting for. There's the break to the downside. And guess what? Nvidia right back to Profitville as we get downside near 230. One more time. We just dipped to 229.70, $3 in the money.
Yeah, and to be fair, these imbalances are, I mean, I don't know what to make of this. Let's take a quick look of...
Aren't they quite large, or...?
I mean, not what I was expecting.
Bigger.
Yeah, I was expecting it to be bigger. And some
okay?
other names, like the banks. Like, why is Citigroup only 900,000? Like, I would expect the banks. BAC's always here.
Yeah.
BAC's not even on the table. Like, that's just surprising to me. BAC always comes out here near the top and then disappears along with Ford, and now they're not even there. GM, being the biggest at 3 million shares, has done 16 million on the day. And I mean, at this point, given how I don't think these imbalances are that great, not to work with anyways. I mean, WDC, what is it, Western Digital?
Yep.
That's there at 1.6 million. That could be a problem for Western Digital. But at the same time, you got to be aware of, it just clicked for me as well, is that Friday there's a rebalance. So it's entirely possible that if they needed to shift shares, they could just do it on Friday. They don't need to do it now. Just because the day's been rough does not necessarily mean that it needs to be done today. So they can just do everything they need to do on Friday. So for now, I guess these imbalances are going to be small. Tomorrow could be interesting, though. With the CPI, would people want to front-run Friday's adjustments? That's a question that will be answered tomorrow at close. But for now, GM, WDC, and RBA, I don't even know what RBA is. What is this? Ritchie Brothers Auctioneers.
You didn't know that?
Yeah. Did you know that?
I said I didn't. Under my breath, I was like, I don't know what the hell that is.
Okay, I didn't even know there was an
Sold,
auction
Ritchie
stock.
Brothers.
Yeah, sold. It's been sold.
Sold to you.
Look at. I'm just at this point because it just fits. Yeah, It's down 3%, but it's not about today. It's about, it's been sold at 60, 60 sold, 59 sold, 58 sold. Here we are at 55 sold. Now, can we get 54 sold? We're going the opposite direction of which auction should be going in. But anyways, RBA heading to the downside. It's got an imbalance to the buy side, but yet heading to the downside right now.
Oh, that's right. We said, oh man, I got to tweet it out. So I didn't do it. I'll do it after. I don't have it set up right now, but we do have someone said they'll be watching basketball on Friday. So will I. Imbalances coming out on Friday will be big, but so is the March Madness tournament. So we got to get all of that set out and ready to go. I'm going to tweet that out later tonight or tomorrow. We'll have a whole setup for the March Madness. We are doing a fun little bracket, completely free, and then I think whoever wins can just come on the show. I mean, we'll talk about that in our Wednesday meeting there to see like what the prize is going to be. But I think that's a decent one. Yeah, come on the show. That'd be fun. Why not? On the show if you win, and we're going to talk about that tomorrow. But for right now, we're waiting for those imbalances to possibly flip over at 355. That's when there's a lot of pairing that happens. So I'm still in Nvidia. I've gotten out a lot. I don't know if you guys remember. I think it was Friday where we got out, and then it was just Meta or something just continued to absolutely collapse down to the downside. So I'm going to hold out hope that maybe that happens again here today, and just the market just continues to make. It was one way or the other. It was a sell or something. I got out thinking we were going to flip at 355, but then the pressure just continued into the close. So let's see if Nvidia can get back into like 229 or something like that, and then really put a nice sort of close to, you know, what's been a pretty tumultuous day in this market. I have like 300 fills, and it's just way too many fills. But this one was a good one here on Nvidia, bringing it back down. I'm hoping my daughter right now we're meeting after for some dinner with her team. They're in a tournament in Mississauga today, and she was at hockey camp, and she's baseball. She's nuts right now. But hockey right now, she got a hat trick on the weekend. So I'm going to say bang to that one. Congratulations to her. And she's really loving hockey. So that's going to be mo money, as it's one of the expensive sports here to be a part of. But there we go. 355 just hit. Now let's wait to see what happens. Do we get some more downside pressure here for Nvidia?
Yeah, now you got a couple names that weren't there at the top of the list on the board now. Schwab and BAC now. BAC popping in with 1.5 to sell, already paired 5. And then Schwab at 2.5 to sell. Schwab's going to be the interesting one because you know Schwab's been getting beaten down. There we go.
What are you doing?
There you go. Yeah, Schwab. I just wanted to pull up the level 2 one. I just wanted to see. Oh,
okay, now we're tanking.
Yeah, there's some pressure on Schwab, all right. Okay, keep an eye on Schwab, guys. It did not like this imbalance because it was at, 52.40, 50, and now it's broken 52 to the downside. This is going to be the one to watch, I think, going into the close. 50. This is the great example that we can put in why imbalances matter. If relative to what the stock's been doing on the day, 2 million, you would think, has no pressure on a name that's done 138 million shares. Problem is, it doesn't have a level 2 that can support 2 million shares. There's no books here that are willing to take it. So now it's being pressured, and especially because it wasn't there before and it came on board after the 55 flip, that means the interest is coming from the floor, not necessarily off the get-go. So now you're seeing a lot of nonsense happening on Schwab. Keep an eye on this. With the way it's moving around, there's going to be some crazy activity on it. I would steer clear of it because right now it's 2.2 with 1.3 paired, but at the same time, if this ever ends up flipping directions, because that can happen, this thing will take off to the upside because there's a lot of space to the upside. For right now, it's being pressured to the sell side with the imbalance, but if this ever flips, and I think right now at 57, not that big of a deal. I think once you get into crunch time around 58, 59, as you get closer and closer to the close, that's when you're going to see some acceleration in Schwab here. It being the only name that's actually got at least 1 million shares on the imbalance, I think there's going to be some pressure there. And also, futures market finally taking a look underneath 90, so maybe we get some selling on Schwab at the same time that the futures market breaks through the bottom. That'll be interesting. But for now, just keep an eye on it. We'll keep this up. Let's see if it ever disappears. But Schwab on the table here with potential sell move going into the close.
All right, so we're just cruising right now, but cruising for a bruising. We'll see. Nice downside move for Nvidia, 229.50. I was just like, let's just play the 50 level and see if we get a break. So right now we're $3 in the money on this trade, holding it for the close. But the close is right here right now. I mean, I think I just have to put a bid out and get out. Let's just wait to see. Here, if we take, let's just do this. If we take we're going to take 223 right now. If we take 223, let's just get out. So I'll put. Whoops, there it is. Okay, no, we did not take it. Okay, so I thought we did. We did not. Let's just sit there. If we take it, we'll get out. If not, we have that 50 level ready to go. So if that fills out for us, we'll take that. But that's a downside move right now for that. So here we go, man. Maybe we can get that 229.50. If not, we'll get out and finish the day off with pretty good, man. Like I said, it could have been a lot worse than it was here today. We did have a great trade on Nvidia to end, and then a couple good ones on Meta there right at the end, including that out right there at 183, which Meta right now, although it's gone lower. I mean, I wouldn't say necessarily that we're bouncing off anything right now, but there's that 181 just came into play again. There's the breakdown, and we're right. Look at the breakdown of 181, went all the way to 180.50 there on the break. So good. 1 minute and a half left. Are we going to get that Nvidia print, or are we going to get stopped out on the upside of this? One little flush down. Come on, Nvidia. Fill us up. We're at 50. Let's go. There's only a minute left. So it's the race to 50 cents. Are we going to get the 51s that we're bidding, or are we going to get stopped out at 23s? 230, sorry. I said 23 before. It's 230 flat. We'll see if we can get stopped out. Looks like the upside move. I don't know where we're going. With only 1 minute left, will we get the bid? Come on, just push it down right now. I might just take this out. Hey, we could just middle. Do you guys just want to middle at 75? We could middle at 75 right now. Let's just do that for Nvidia. Try to get the 75 bid. There it is. We are out of that. Let's cancel everything. We're going to get 50s probably, that means. All right, we've canceled everything. No more orders. Wiped clean. Not bad right there. $3 to end the day on that Nvidia take. We take it out right there at the end. So yeah, pretty happy. Oh man, if we get that 50, it looks like we will middle. With only 20 seconds, we did take the middle. With only 20 seconds to go, I don't know who's going to ring the bell. Nobody will, so that's fine. Here we go, 10. Fod's got to run the board, so we'll run that. Keep it on there. There it is, Trader TV Live, brought to you by, and here comes Fahad right now. Thank you so much, my friend. 3, 2, 1. Ding, ding, ding. Thank you. Trader TV Live has rang that bell, and over goes Fahad back to the big desk. So thank you so much for that one. Nvidia, I don't know where it printed exactly. I see some 66s. So I think we did pretty good. I don't see any 50s in here. I see a couple 50s, 59s. So we're at 51. So we did good by getting a 76 there. Good out for us. Now finished. Good day overall. Look, I'm going to be the first one to tell you, I'm not green today. We took a couple of hits early, but we lost our loss is well within the region of acceptance for us. We lost less today than we made on Friday by almost 2 to 1. So far so good. But before, we were like 1 to 1 before that Nvidia trade, but made some money back right there and finishes the day in the red, but well within the area of concern for me. So, all right, what? It still shows me in position. I'm not in position. I'll refresh it, but I'm not. All right, so I'll double check that as I throw to Brendan. But again, first red day this month happened today in what was a very tough day. I put in the chat earlier this morning, I think it was like 10:30. I said, man, it's a tough day to trade. And I feel like it was even into the close. So let's go over to Brendan and figure out how the market wound up.
Yeah, pretty wild afternoon, pretty wild day right across the board, depending on where you're looking. Here's how things end the session. If you looked at this board, you'd think, okay, fairly normal. Tech pretty strong, 0.8 at the end of it, 0.16 downside for the S&P, basically flat there for the Dow after all of that, 2.87 after all of that for crude oil. It was 5.25% at the lows for crude oil today. Bitcoin just monstrous, 21.3%, 18% for Ethereum. Crazy days, guys.
All right.
Damn, Bitcoin.
Yeah, I am not in that position. So thanks for pointing that out, Fahad. I didn't see it on the screen there, but we are flat. So, all right, man, crazy day for Bitcoin, crazy day for the market. I think it caught you and I both off guard early a little bit, and then, I don't know, it was just a little bit choppy. And then to end the day where we did with a nice move down, basically taking out half the day's move in the last 20 minutes. So we'll wait out for CPI tomorrow. It's going to be a good one. It'll be nice to have you in. Well, you are going to be in. What for CPI? Is that something that you hit right away? No. So
No.
you won't be in before?
That's just, yeah, I have a rule
Just to
against
give
playing
people-
against 830 numbers. I mean, I know a lot of people that just like, oh, whichever direction the CPI goes, that's the direction you go in. That's a dangerous game to play. I've played that game before. In the long run, it's hard to come out ahead on that.
Yeah.
So for me, I need the CPI to come out. I need the market to make its move, and then I'll figure out how I want to play after the fact. I needed to figure out what it wants to do, because the thing you got to consider too is what happens if the CPI comes in one direction that the market thinks. Like right now, we're projected to open not open, but projected to only have a quarter point or even no hike at all. What happens if you get a very high CPI number? Does the market then think, is it going to be stuck between, well, what's happening with the banks versus what's happening with inflation? Which one do you prioritize? And again, people are making assumptions, right? Using this number of what the Fed is going to do. So this is going to take some time to digest. And I think the market's going to need some time. And I don't want to get caught in that mess. So for me, let the market do its thing. I'll figure it out. Once I can get a read on the market, I'll decide what I want to do. But I think trading it right off the get-go is a very dangerous game to play.
Plus you have spreads, right? The spread's
That
going to
too.
get you. You're going to get wicked out on all that. And so we're going to pay attention to that. And plus, I think it's a valid point. Like, we can go to Brendan now. We're almost done to wrap this up. Like, I don't even know if a good CPI number is good for the market, bad numbers bad for the market. Nowadays we just wait. That 50-point to 25-point spread there is pretty interesting on the Fed futures. So, all right. Good day so far. Yep, there's Neil. He's
At the
not
Blue
there.
Jays game. It's 16-3 right now for the Jays.
Wow, so much excitement there. Almost more excitement than the market.
He's over there enjoying that, and here we are trying to deal with this market.
To be quite frank, I'd almost rather be. Every time I'm away, I'd almost rather be here. So shout out to Neil. Thanks for doing it. Letting Arun sit in here and enjoy your vacay, Neil. He'll be back next week. That looked great there. Glad to see the weather improved. We had some reports that the weather wasn't great there, but good seats, good view there. 16-3. They lost on the weekend, something bad like that. Something bad. So
It was a split squad.
Oh, split squad.
Yeah.
Is that what it is today, or?
I don't think so, no.
But the World Baseball Classic is still on, so I think or maybe it's not. I don't know. I think they're missing some players. But okay, good job, man. It's 4:05. We'll be back tomorrow for everybody. Thanks to Sharif and Luca. Thanks to Fahad today, man, doing the whole board by himself. Thank you so much for that. Thanks to Rob, who filled in a little bit. Thanks to Arun, Brendan, and everybody. We're back tomorrow. It should be a fun one. Get ready for 8:25. We'll go on. Thanks, Brendan, last time. We're a little bit late. We'll get on that tomorrow. 8:25. We're back with some CPI preparation. So we'll see you tomorrow. Be well. 8:25. Ciao.